All right, great. So I just started the recording now. So even though we are live, it is finally being recorded. Someone in chat, Mr. Ford, said, "Let's go, Team Spencer." We already have a Team Spencer supporter here.
Nice. You love to see the fans in chat.
Love to see the fans. The one viewer here at Pugsley95, Pugsley Gaming, the official streaming of Team Liquid. No, I'm kidding. I'm in my Team Liquid Secret Labs chair, my Team Liquid shirt.
Nice.
Please sponsor me. Excited to do the very first matchup of the Sweat League in 2023. This seems to be a banger. Looking at the teams here. Oh, now we have Let's Go Crimson Moon in chat. Let's see. There already seems to be a bloodbath between the two fans in chat. The three fans in chat. What is? Here we go. Welcome everybody. Welcome. Thank you for allowing me to be your primary caster for the Sweat League. I hope to do you all justice. I hope to make this fun for everyone. I'm joined here with my co-caster. Would you like to be referred to as Pens?
Sure, yeah, let's go with Pens. In League it's Heartbreak Handle, but most places it's Pens.
Great. Pens and Pugsley. That's my caster name, by the way, despite it being
Oh, nice. Pens
Hobo.
and Puggy.
Yeah,
The two P's, I like it.
I do too. I do too.
Here, I'll send you the I know we're already live. I'm just gonna send you a picture of the draft notes so you've got something to refer to as well.
Great, yeah. Please throw that in the disc. We have some Pens fans in chat. They say, "Pens, you sound hot." Curious if you
Oh,
know these
appreciate
people,
it.
or
I main Captain Falcon in Melee, so let that say what it will about me.
dude, I main Captain Falcon too, the pink and white one.
That's the one I use, but only because it's called Captain Fabulous.
Wow, that is show me your moves. Wow, two Captain
Exactly.
Falcon mains, Pens and
It's
Pugsley
meant
here.
to be. Now we know.
Yeah, now we know. Got the
All right,
Raptors in
sending it
chat.
now.
Wonderful, wonderful.
It's probably gonna be a little blurry, but hopefully that'll work.
Oh, that's great. That is phenomenal. That's all I need. Those are phenomenal notes by my co-caster today.
Glad to help.
So it looks like we have 9 of the 10 here in the draft client.
Yeah, I believe the draft penalties start taking place at 15 minutes. So usually by then we'll have everybody in there and we'll be good to go.
Sounds good. So yeah, everyone. It looks like everyone's in their position. Oh, actually, Osnapski is in the client. If they go from spectator into team 2, they should be good. From what I'm seeing, everyone's in their correct position.
Oh, okay.
Potentially.
Were they waiting on anyone else to spectate? Like, was Zeke gonna watch it or anything like that?
I'm not entirely sure. I'm just here along for the ride in the draft client. I haven't seen any notes, any messages in the Discord.
Okay. Yeah, you can let them know that we're ready on our end then, because I know at least when I was doing it, it was kind of weird. You had to have somebody waiting in spectator so that the spectators could actually join and then jump into spectator.
Okay.
So if they think that I'm going to be watching too, that might be why.
Yep. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I am actually have the cast being also casted to the other caster. Lots of casting there. So if you're waiting
Yeah.
for another spectator, we're all here. Oh, nice.
There we go. That's our draft link.
Wonderful. I will need to change my link here. Let me full screen this. So here we are in the draft tab. I'm just here spectating. Oh, Mr. Ford, they said Captain Falcon Main, shaking my head, man.
What? Stomp needs too strong or what?
Yeah, they don't like the moves, I guess. They aren't down with the Falcon Punch, you know.
Oh yeah.
If it's not Captain Falcon, I'd say my backup's probably Donkey Kong.
As long as it's not Fox or Falco, I'll still respect it.
Yeah, definitely not. I do play quite a bit of Luigi, but both melee
Nice.
and ultimate. Because all my time is mostly in melee, so I don't really main any new champs. I do like to favor Bowser Jr., but
Oh yeah, he's got some pretty cool skin variety. On the Discord, I'm still seeing the client. By the way, I'm not seeing the draft tool at all.
oh yes, I am not streaming the draft tool to you. So if you want to pull that up separately, I'll send you the link.
Sure, perfect.
If you don't mind that. Sorry, I'm
Yeah,
only
no, that's all
streaming
good.
you the client. That way you can see it. All right, so right now they're banning. Looks like the very first ban is an Ari ban coming from the side of Team Spencer. Seems to be targeting Tai Tai there, who seems to be an Ari main. Did get that Camille ban. We see the P Diddy is the I would
Really
describe as
targeting the one tricks, yeah.
yeah the Camille one trick there. We also have a Zeri and a Tristana ban on the side of Crimson Moon, really targeting the Levi Walker down there.
And the Zac. Okay, yeah, Zac was played, I would say, a fair bit more than the other ones. So they're just targeting what like the most comfortable champions, which makes sense. Whereas like if I'm Crimson Moon, and I'm looking at Team Spencer, and if they've got a whole bunch of other things that they play, unless they're looking to deny pick the game plan, because I'm pretty sure both players did play it a little bit. Oh no, Kodak Mac is the gangplank main. That's why. But yeah, basically, if I'm Team Spencer, unless you're looking to deny pick the gangplank, I'm just looking at because they've only got like one or two one tricks. I'm mostly looking at just the champs that I don't want to play against the most, just since there is such a widespread, uh, rather than like these clear like, oh, I only play this.
Yeah, I'm actually curious. They didn't deny pick the gangplank, so I'm actually curious to see if Crimson Moon does take that gangplank, or if they're going to see where this Sejuani goes. I would assume it's going to be a Sejuani jungle, but with this, being an amateur league and not necessarily completely what's in the meta, it could very well be a Sejuani top, which is a very viable top laner. And then we also have the Trundle, which is also a really solid flex pick.
And works well into Sejuani as well, just with the taking away from the tankiness, which is nice.
It does, yeah. And Trundle is such a versatile first pick, in my opinion. Same with the Sejuani. You can have many comps around both those champions. Great possible split pusher in the Trundle as well if they do decide to flex him top. And then it looks like we do have the Kaisa lock in from Team Crimson Moon. So that's very interesting. Haven't seen too much Kaisa. I'm curious to see what they're going to pair that with.
I would be guessing either the Leona or the Nautilus. I do see that Osnapsky plays both of them, as well as the Amumu. So there's definitely a few options, and I think Alistar as well. So quite a few engage options, which would work well with the Trundle as well if they want to pull off like an early cheese gank. I would say Amumu or Trundle or Amumu or Nautilus would be really good for the level ones. Those are my go-tos if I want like a really strong level one.
Hey, Mr. Ford, just saw your comment. So sorry that my picture of me was covering the bands from Crimson Moon. I have moved it so you can see the picks and bans for both teams. Looks like we do have the Karma Caitlyn. That's a great pushing bot lane. Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah, that is probably. I know most people go with Caitlyn Lux, but if I'm being honest with you, I'm more of a Caitlyn Karma kind of. I favor that in terms of pushing favor, and obviously so did I believe it was T1.
Oh, interesting.
They took the Karma there. In the Game 5 of the World Finals. The Nami, that is quite interesting. You don't see.
Yeah,
Yep.
so their support does favor the Nami more than the other champions, but I just figured with the Kaisa they'd want something with a bit more reliable CC. Again, the Nautilus has that click to hit from range, which is really nice. But when you're playing into range, the melee items did come through, so I guess it depends on what the support players think. But melee into range can still feel pretty bad, especially when it's champs like Caitlyn and Karma.
Yeah, I think all that's great analysis. Um, we did get the Aurelion Soul ban coming out of Team Spencer. That is. Aurelion Soul is broken right now, especially if they're facing against a Mordekaiser. I don't know if you've seen the Mordekaiser Aurelion Soul
Oh, it's like the
interactions.
infinite burning, right?
Yeah, the infinite burning
Oh,
is
that's just nasty.
it's bonkers. Yeah, it's so broken right now. So I can understand the Aurelion Soul ban. They could have picked it for themselves if their mid laner had felt comfortable on it, but uh, we'll see that.
Yeah, it is one of those champions where I feel like if you're in a stable game, like 20 minutes in and you've got the Aurelion Soul on your team, it's very, very hard for the enemy team to start shutting him down. He becomes a powerhouse really strong really late in the game. But I do notice that they banned the Gangplank and the Kale, so they did finally start targeting the pseudo one tricks of Team Spencer, which is nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and on that Aurelion Soul note, if you're like you said, mid game, if you get to the 20 minutes, if you've stacked that dust, it can very well be GG at that point, just based on stacking and
Absolutely.
farming. So, looking at that set lock in from Crimson Moon, that's not a pick I see too often anymore. Oh, and we see the Alawi, so that is the Sejuani jungle, assuming that they. They did lock it in, so here we go.
I would assume so, yeah.
Yep. So it looks like mid lane picks are both last picks here for both teams. We do have a Yone and a Kali for Team Spencer, or Team Crimson Moon, actually. They like to play Yone and a Kali. And for the
Hmm.
side of Team Spencer, that Kale is banned, so we'll see. And they picked the Swain.
I do think that, if I recall correctly, I do think they have one or two Swain games under their belt, so some experience on the champion this year for sure. Um, I also think it makes sense to leave the assassin player last pick just to make sure they can get something that they're comfortable with. And then if they have to go on a control mage or something, if there is like a matchup where they're like, okay, I can't really play something more aggressive melee into this, then it gives them that option too.
Absolutely. I think that the Swain, the only thing that worries me about Swain mid is, or Swain in general, is you said that he seems to be fairly comfortable on the champion. I really hope that he is, because if you aren't stacking those E's at a high level, it can very, very well be GG there. So hopefully he can stack that. I'm curious to see what build he goes with Swain with this team comp as well. When you already have the Alawi and Sejuani, I very well could see a full AP Swain, as well as a tank Swain. So we'll see where that goes, or even a Rod of Ages Swain. There's so many different Swains you could go. And then we see
For sure.
Silas as the last pick, which is arguably the most, in my opinion, broken counters to Swain, because that Silas with that Swain ult, that is just a disgusting death ball you could have.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how both teams try to deal with the other team's healing. Right, you've got the Swain and the Alawi on one side with a pretty strong front line with the Sejuani as well, and then a Karma shielding them behind, and then the long range of Caitlyn. Right, I'm curious to see how both teams, again, because the other side you've got Trundle, you've got Nami, you've got Silas, and you've got Set. So both teams get a lot of regen. I'm going to be interested to see what they do to deal with that, or if they just try to circumnavigate the front line entirely and find a way to jump on the backside.
Yeah, it very well could be. It's looking like two pretty straightforward front to back, uh, as we're seeing right now, especially on the side of Team Spencer. Team Spencer has a really, really traditional team fight setup, in my opinion. The Kaisa is really the wild card that I'm seeing from Crimson Moon. That Kaisa, depending on their mechanical ability and their comfortability on the champion, could very well break this game open, depending on their skill level on it. Yes, I'm ready, streamer. Streamer is ready. You can send it straight through, and we're ready.
You don't have to be afraid of me.
All right, so just a quick recap on the draft here. I wonder if they don't necessarily need to do like their bans and everything the way they did, but if they want it to be accurate in terms of recording purposes, they could.
I think they have to. They're supposed to make it accurate so that when you go back and look at the Battlefy website, it will have the same bans that you actually put in.
Interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
We didn't.
Uh,
You
go
can
ahead.
go ahead. Oh, I was gonna say we didn't talk much about that Annie ban, and I will say, I didn't. You did more scouting than me, so I'm not entirely sure if that Annie was particularly played on the other side, but
If
Annie could very well break that game. So that's probably the only real meta ban I'm seeing here.
I do recall, the one support player, I don't remember which one. I'm gonna assume it was our team on the left here. The one support did have a couple games on Annie. I don't recall seeing any mid lanes playing it, so I do think that's a support ban. But beyond that, I can't really speak much to it. They had only played, I believe, 2 games, and I think that was Team Spencer.
I believe you're correct in that as well.
I've seen you.
So what are you wanting to see from both of these teams as far as like which lanes to focus on. Like obviously it depends on the state of the game, but just from a draft perspective right now, what are some clear game plans that you would like to see?
Yeah, that's so obviously from the Caitlyn Karma, I really want to see a lot of pressure in that bottom lane. I think that is there's a reason you picked the Caitlyn, right? Is to
Absolutely.
yeah, and so when you're taking that Caitlyn, you're looking to be really aggressive in the bot lane, and I'm also looking to get a lead on that Swain, because if you're just going even in terms of CS throughout the game on the Swain versus Sylas matchup, I'm a mid lane main myself. I actually haven't told you that, and
All
so
right.
I am. And so when I look, if I'm playing Swain into Sylas and I don't have a lead at 20 minutes, or if my team doesn't have a significant lead, I'm feeling really uncomfortable in team fights, because the whole.
Well,
So that's where I would be looking if I'm the Sejuani. I'm looking to get that Swain a lead.
and I was gonna say too, especially with the Silas being able to steal your ult. If he's using your ult better than you are, you're kind of having a bit of a problem there. I also agree with focusing on this Karma Caitlyn for a couple reasons. I think that Trundle is pretty scary, especially early on as a bot lane. Back like last year, a lot of pro players would draft the Trundle and just level 2 gank with the pillar. And again, there's no Nautilus, there's no Leona or Amumu to like follow it up super easily, but the Nami bubble can still make it work. And so if you're going to be pushing as Caitlyn Karma, which you should be, and if you're looking for those plates, I think you do want this Sejuani down there a little bit, just to make sure that you're not getting like level 2, level 3 cheesed, or just getting ganked too much, right? Especially before those support wards coming in, you don't necessarily have full control over the river as often as you would like.
Absolutely. I think getting vision in the bot lane is going to be really, really big deal, because both of these junglers are dive junglers too.
Yeah.
Especially if they're taking aggro really, really well, or at least if they know how to divvy up that aggro. I mean, we're playing with, mid to high level elo players here, so I'm looking to see some nice tower dives. In order, that's what's going to separate this game, in my opinion, is how well their
Sure.
junglers can commit to dives. Because if you're picking the Trundle, if you're picking the Sejuani, you got to be able to dive.
I think I'm more
Effectively.
confident in the Sejuani on that end,
Mm.
just because between the Karma shielding, and I do think that Sejuani is inherently more tanky, right? Like unless you're trying to dive somebody, like if you're Trundle and you're trying to dive a Sejuani, like first of all, diving tanks is not very fun and not very good all the time. But secondly, if you don't have that, then you don't really have that tank stats unless you're not going for a more damagey build yourself. And so I think that at least early on, sorry, who's on the left here? Which team was that again?
The team on the left is
Team
Team Spencer.
Spencer,
That is
yeah.
Spencer.
So
Yeah.
I think Team Spencer definitely has the better dive early, in terms of that, at least on the bot side of the map.
Yeah, for sure. I'm actually curious if blue to red side is going to play much of a difference here. We don't see like a huge, at least to my understanding, and lower to non-pro elos essentially. I'm not too up to date on differences between blue and red side and what the prio is, because it really all has to do with draft, and because they're
Yeah,
drafting towards their teams. But having the Herald side, if you're red side, with the focus with how broken, in my opinion, Herald is early game, having the side of Herald being on the top side, that could play a role here, especially with the Sejuani, because Sejuani is a
mhm,
really great siege champion around objectives early. So we'll see how Alawi, how top lane really goes, in order to see if they can rotate down and help with some objectives there.
for sure. Yeah, just in terms of side selection, I know for me, and it seemed like a lot of the teams were following this. We just kind of looked at our last year at our stats and said, okay, all of us have positive win, or like higher win rates on blue side than on red side, so we'll just pick blue side. And it seemed like kind of most teams handshook for that. Is like, oh yeah, we won the rock paper scissors, we'll go blue side. Oh yeah, you guys won, so we get side selection, we'll go blue side. It seemed to be the favorite last year. So
That's good information in terms of like what the league did historically, for sure.
yeah,
All right, looks like we're finally getting into the game itself from a spectator standpoint.
ruh-roh,
No, it did. There we go. It's just taking a second.
for sure.
I did quite a few trial runs to make sure that my streaming and everything is going through fairly well. So I'll do my best to have the camera where it's needed to be. I could not find the correct resources in order to have the ultra zoom and live spectator mode. As for the viewers' purposes, I was given the resources and tools to do that with controlling the stream, but all the resources given to me only discuss to do that with recorded games themselves. So we'll see how it goes in terms of the live game, but I'm not feeling too uncomfortable with that. So liking these skins here, though.
Your Discord stream ended up dying out on me, so I'm gonna need that back up when you get the chance.
Okie dokie, let me do that for you.
Appreciate it.
All right, you see it?
Oh yeah, I see it.
Alrighty, alrighty.
And the game is starting. There we go.
All right. So Trundle's already backing. It looks like he's doing the standard drop the board, change to the sweeper. There he goes. And that's exactly what he did. So let me make sure that I have that up. So we got Swain there. It doesn't tell me what Swain started, which is really unfortunate because I'm really curious. There's a lot of different Swain starts. Some people weirdly start W on Swain, which I would be really shocked to see. It's more of a support Swain, but I haven't seen it happen in the mid lane, especially since the Swain rework recently. So.
Yeah, you'll be in charge of most everything that isn't bot lane. I'm pretty exclusive in my knowledge here, so.
Great, yeah. It's funny. I am not a bot lane player, so
there we go. Perfect for each other.
It is. I'm a jungle mid, so I'm a mid jungle. So it looks like here Sejuani's starting on her blue, Trundle's starting on his red. They're both going to be pathing towards that bottom lane. It looks like where that Prio's going to be here. Both get a leash from the top side. That it's pretty even going into the top side.
Good guy top laners. You like to see it.
Yeah, definitely. And we're going to have, Swain going in early.
Already.
Okay. All right. So some early trading over in the mid lane. And we also have Trundle taking red and going straight to his blue. This is going to be really interesting as we see Sejuani take the Gromp. Sejuani's just taking the Gromp over there. I am actually going to move my picture on the stream over here so y'all can see the map too as to what I'm seeing. So Sejuani did a standard 3-camp clear, and we have some trading going on in the bottom lane.
Yeah, and so we do see the expected push from the Karma and the Caitlyn. I am curious if their ward is going to expire because Trundle did path from red straight to blue like you said, so I'm wondering if he's going to look down there as they're pushed into the turret and whether they'll see him coming or not.
I think absolutely. I'm really curious. Yeah, especially Trundle knows exactly how to play that lane. He did a 3-camp. He did the red-blue Gromp. Not sure if he's going to try to make a play here. Silas had some really great trading early, it looked like, and Swain missed some ease. Swain was missing some ease, so if that keeps happening, I'm really nervous if I'm the side of Team Spencer on the blue side over here. Swain mid is a real... If you're not hitting your ease, it can really cripple your team.
Absolutely. And the nice thing about playing something like Silas, or I'm more of a Pantheon player, but any of those players who want to jump on you, right? Like it can look like an even health trade, even if Silas was lower. As long as you're the burst champion, if you've got them in that within that lethal range, you're the one who's threatening, right? Because they're not just going to use poke and instantly kill you from half health.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. Those bruiser 1v1 engaged champions for sure. That's exactly what you're going to be looking for. Not in a Nivea or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Not much zoning going on between these two champions. Swain has some zoning, but if he's not getting that health, if he's not stacking that health, it's really difficult for him to zone, and you can really, really engage on him early. So in the top lane, We're seeing some really great trading. I'm actually really liking this set. Play up here, he's being really aggressive. Seems that he knows, or at least he's aware that the Sejuani's bot side right now, and we see the back from Sejuani. We could see a potential dive from Trundle. Trundle seems to have a great timer on that Gromp. Showed up right when that Gromp
allowing
spawned.
no flash too.
Oh, great, yeah. Very good.
Yeah, no, the lovely thing about okay, we got a gank bot lane,
Ooh.
and that is for the stronger, the Caitlyn and the Karma. Wow, I used to main her. I should know this name. Yeah, but I was gonna say the nice thing about the set though is as long as you're trading like even if you're trading down a little bit, um you've got that sustain, and that's higher the lower it is, right? So if he's got W here, okay, he doesn't get the kill.
Oh
That's
yeah,
unfortunate.
and we see that dive, and the worst part is Set loses that flash. So
Absolutely.
Set flashed out of the tower shot, and Trundle might be aggressive here to try to make up for that first blood on the side of Kodak Mac over here, but that's a great first blood for the side of Alawi. That you couldn't have
Yeah.
asked for anything better, because now you can freeze that wave back, TP in, and you're good to go. So
Yeah, I don't think she'll be able to keep it frozen in front of her tower just because as soon as she backs, Set should be able to push it if he wants to, or it just might reset. And then in which case she would have to TP back anyway, so it just kind of becomes even, but she will have extra gold to spend, so she should be looking pretty good there.
And yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And we're still seeing that push from Caitlyn Karma. Swain is forcing Silas to back there. I'm wondering how Swain's going to play this wave in the mid lane. I think there's a few ways he could play it. He's probably just going to take the slow push here, but he could look for an early Swain roam. He could hard push and take an early Swain roam. It wouldn't surprise me if he did.
Yeah, jumping back to this bot lane, one of the things I do want to see is how quickly this Caitlyn Karma can take those plates, right? They don't have the same lethal threat as like a Caitlyn Lux, and that is maybe the one downside I'd say between the Karma and the Lux. But I do think they have far more wave control. And so if they can get those plates and start moving Caitlyn around and get a lot more and really accelerate her, I think that's where she gets really strong. Whereas if they just kind of trade even, it's like, yeah, we pushed you under tower, but if you're still farming, there's a huge farm differential, so that's good at least.
Yeah.
But if the Caitlyn's only getting the farm and not really getting kills or plates, I don't think she's going to be particularly happy with that result.
I can completely concur with all that. I think shifting back up to the top lane here, we have about 1,000 gold difference for the side of Team Spencer, and we're only 6 minutes in. Oh wow, okay, and now it is a true 1,000 gold difference.
So that's 3-level difference. I don't know if Trundle will win this.
Oh, I think he does. I think he
probably.
does.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Got the nice chomp. That makes up for some gold there. Now it's about a 600 gold difference. We're 7 minutes into the game. The only real CS difference that we're seeing was in the well, actually, now it's in the jungle. The bot lane CS is pretty even. We see the early Noon Quiver from Caitlyn. So
and she should be able to pick up most of that wave too. So there should be a bit of a lead between her and the Kai'Sa, more than it looks like right now.
Very good point. Very good point. And she has that Noon Quiver, as I said. So looking really good in the bot lane for this Karma, Caitlyn. They both have their biscuits left too, which is really, really important as it gets to that first all in that I'm sure we'll see here very shortly.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say with the Nami Kai'Sa, by the time you hit level 6, if you're not too far behind, I do think that you have a more threatening all in. So they could look for something there as long as they haven't fallen like completely behind, right? If they come back and they also have a Noon Quiver, I think you're pretty happy at least for the moment.
Very well said. It looks like they're coming back with the movement speed boots. Yeah, the boots, which having the 2 long swords, isn't the worst in the world. I'm more of a Noon Quiver first boots kind of guy, but once again, I don't play ADC, so.
Now I don't know too much about top lane matchups, but I'm looking at this and I'm assuming. Okay, she's fine. I'm assuming a lot of that is off of just like snowballing from that one kill that the Alawi got from that failed dive. How do you feel like that matchup would be going if it had stayed even instead, right? Because the set looked like he was winning at the beginning there.
Yeah, I think that it's actually a slight advantage, just speaking generally here for the Alawi in general, because they did counterpick that Alawi into the set. Because they last picked the Silas, so they did pick their set at 4. I think with the range from Alawi's E, it does give a little bit of advantage to Alawi because she can zone, she can hit that E, zone out of Set's W, and in a 1v1 standpoint, I think Alawi wins that 1v1, but once again, in any elo, it really does come down in the 1v1 to skill more so than anything. I think you could say a skill matchup is a matchup for almost any top lane matchup at a... assuming we're not talking about like a Teemo or a pocket pick Victor or something weird in the top lane.
Or the old forbidden tech of AD LeBlanc top.
The technology. So we're seeing Red team here take the Team Spencer here take the or not Team Spencer. I'm sorry, Team Crimson Moon take the
Crimson
first
Moon.
dragon, and we see that all in. We see both Swain ults popped. We see the flash from Silas going in, zoning out. Oh, okay, so not too much there. It forces the Swain to back. I wonder if they know, if Crimson Moon knows where Sejuani is. They have to know now. You should be able to force a plate mid, if not a straight-on 1v1 kill for the Silas. That Swain was looking really unhealthy.
You do see the Trundle on the top side, so they are getting cross map play. They're getting the Herald there, and it already looks like forgive me, it's Team Spencer has a bunch of plates already. And they just got to kill bot lane too, right? So they should be able to pick up more if they want.
Yep.
But you've already got at least one, maybe two. I don't know what the top lane is at. No, the top lane is not quite lethal yet. Right? But the Rift Herald should be able to take down the bot lane with the plate still up, with 3-4 minutes still to go. And so you can start moving the Caitlyn around and getting her more plates too, right? I'm a little surprised they got the Drake on Crimson Moon with all this bot lane priority, but I guess they just found a good time for it.
Yeah, that's actually a really, really good point. Wasn't even paying attention to that bot lane prio, but the fact that they did get that, they had to have put a lot of resource. That Trundle certainly made it a priority to make sure they got that dragon. And once again, I mean, the Cloud Dragon, especially with the buffs on the dragon. Here we go, another dive at top. We could see. Oh wow, I'm looking to see another solo kill here. I'd be shocked if that does not happen, or at least a one for one here. Another plate for that Alawi. Yeah, Blues Team Spencer here is just destroying it as it relates to plates across the entire map. Yeah, and there we go. Another solo kill for that Alawi. It's really going to come down to an Alawi carry, which is crazy because wasn't the Kodak Mac, he was the Camille one trick.
I think he had a few games on some other champions, but yeah, by far more on Camille than anything else. Like, it was like 30 games Camille this year and like maybe 5 on his next highest played champion. At least according to what I was looking at.
Yeah, actually, I do think it was P. Diddy. I think it was Crimson Moon that had the Camille, if I remember correctly, actually.
Let me take a look here.
That may have... I'm almost certain.
That's correct, yeah. Yep. It looked like Kodak Mac was a Gangplank main, right?
He was.
But I think he had a more rounded, like less exclusive to that one champion.
So right now we're seeing a 4K gold lead 12 minutes in. This is going to be a really tough hole to climb out of for Team Crimson Moon. I'm not really sure where we're going to see it because that Silas didn't get much of a lead versus Swain. That sets 0-4. The Kai'Sa's down 23 CS. There's not much positive outlook here. They do have that one dragon with the buffs on that Cloud Drake when they buffed the dragons at the end of last year. That's really not going to make up much difference. It's nice to have that Drake on Trundle and a Kai'Sa, but it's not really worth a 4K gold lead. And yeah, we just see them dive in.
There's
right
another.
there.
Yeah, there's another. Caitlyn didn't even have to expend the ult on the Nami there.
No.
She had to poke down the Kai'Sa and force her off too.
She did.
So they're probably going to be able to get this turret because because Caitlyn's backing, or sorry, Kai'Sa is backing too. Does Sejuani still have Herald? I don't believe I saw her.
No, it's Trundle with Herald. And
that's correct. Trundle.
Yeah.
The Herald. That's why.
Man, this top lane's really rough up here for this set. I'm surprised they haven't rotated and sent even a Silas counter to lane swap here. I know that they can't lane swap after 5 in this league, but
is it not after or not before?
I thought it was after when I was reading it's you could before, but as a response for like a competitive, but after 5 minutes, if I had read the rules correctly, that was it.
I'll have to double check because I thought it was the other way around, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, no worries. We did see that gank up the top lane to try to force that Alawi, but this Alawi is just so dang big at this point. I wish we could see how much gold they're sitting on. I don't believe that I can, but she still has that 300 bounty on her. She has the cleaver already. She rushed the black cleaver, which doesn't surprise me, and we see a kill in the mid lane. Let's see what the Swain can do.
Swain's gonna get the Kai'Sa too.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. It's just a slaughter up here for Team Spencer. We have a lot of Spencer hype up in the chat over here. I haven't been paying much attention to the chat with my first game streaming in the Sweat League, so sorry about that. But yeah, they're talking about his Champion Ocean, Kodak's Champion Ocean. So apparently this guy can play a lot of champions.
So he's not a Gangplank one trick. Good to know.
Yeah, he's very, very skilled on this Alawi.
Okay, big Nami ult. I don't know if it's really gonna matter.
Yeah, we saw Silas steal that Karma ult and didn't do much with it.
Karma ult not known for being the greatest of Silas ults to steal.
The only other ult I can think that might be a little bit worse would be the Anivia ult. You know.
Yeah, fair. So if you're team Crimson Moon here,
Yeah.
what are you looking at to get back into this game, if anything, or are you just saying, okay, we're probably gonna have to go next? What do we fix?
Yeah, I think to answer your question, I always like to maintain positivity as we see Team Spencer take this second dragon. It's an Infernal. And the soul that we're going to see this game is, one second before I answer your question. Ocean Soul. So that could play my answer to your question. I play with the it's never a go next kind of mindset. So if I'm the side of Team Crimson Moon here, even though you have an 8k deficit, you're looking at those shutdowns. You have a 400 shutdown on Caitlyn and a 350 shutdown on Alawi. I want to get those as soon as possible, and I want to get the gold onto one person. If I'm looking, it would probably be the ADC Kai'Sa here, just to try to match that Caitlyn in the team fights. But once again, I mean, with the Alawi just so big, it is looking pretty hopeless, if I'm being honest. But I don't like to maintain that mindset. So I'm looking to get those shutdowns, put it on one carry, and try to team fight from there. Maybe get a few picks after that, and then also stack these dragons. If you can get some steals without being aced for those resources and for those objectives, if you can get them with the most minimal cost you have to give up, that's really big if you can get those dragons. But
what's the gold lead right now? Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's a 7 gold, almost an 8k
7K.
gold, 7.5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're looking at 7,500, 16 minutes in here. So, and then what I'm looking to change next is, so in the draft, they prioritized the Trundle. Not a big fan of this Trundle pick. He is 40 CS down with only... he has their only kill, but it was a response kill to that. Oh, and we see the 1v1 fight here, the bottom river.
And once again, whose Swain ult is better, right?
Yeah, whose Swain ult is better? You're 100% right. Swain misses his E, he has to flash out. He committed everything into that and got nothing. So that's actually pretty big for the side of Team Crimson Moon there. Oh, the Nami bubble hit and the Kai'Sa!
I cannot believe that landed.
Wow, now that is what we're talking about for the side of Team Crimson Moon there. They got a 1 for nothing. So
that's correct. They've got the numbers advantage. Their health is a little low, but I wonder if they can try to at least take some control of mid before Dragon shows up. Maybe have some access into there later.
And they're going back in.
Just take a numbers fight. There you go.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. This is exactly what we want to see from this. Yeah. Now I would not re-engage here if I'm them. Yeah. We didn't know where the Caitlyn was at. Maybe they can get the Caitlyn here. They got the shutdown on the Caitlyn.
But the Alawi is going to be big, so we have to see how this turns out. I think they just run.
Do they have flash? There's no flashes on the side. They burned everything for the side of Team Crimson Moon.
Yeah, I did not expect Sejuani to get that low from that set W there. She was she got some health back, but she was at a sliver before they ended up killing off the set. So I'm assuming she took Triumph and that healed her up.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm seeing here too.
But yeah, Signs of Life, which is good, and on the Kai'Sa you got a couple kills. I was gonna say that's the one thing when I'm looking at this comp that I think might be helpful, right? Because if what I'm looking at is I think Kodak has a much stronger front line, just between the Sejuani, the Fed Alawi, and then Swain kind of works as like a pseudo frontliner.
Yeah.
With the long range and the shielding from Karma and Caitlyn, so they can very traditionally easily find a front to back, right?
Yep.
But you have a Silas who does want to look around if he can find a way onto the backline. You've got a Set who can take the front line and just kind of really disorient that. Mm-hmm. And Kai'Sa, if there's any CC that goes there, or if she lands her, I believe it's her W, can also make her way back. So if they can actually break up the front line or just completely find a way around it and get to the backline of Karma Caitlyn and blow that up, they can still have a possibility of winning team fights, I think. Although with that huge gold lead, it will be difficult.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it really comes down to that gold lead and just the Alawi. The Alawi's 2 item right now. They have Iceborne and that Black Cleaver. The another thing to discuss here in terms of mid lane, we do see Swain go or Silas going that Rod of Ages, and he already has 6 stacks on it. So once
Oh
he
wow.
once he gets that level there, oh, and we see Swain trying to take the set. He misses his E. Um, he did go Leandry Swain, which is pretty standard nowadays, and set. Oh, that was real close. That was a
That
nice
was close. I
effort.
think if he turned around earlier, right? He realized too late that he wasn't going to get out of the ult, but if he turned around earlier, I think he could have had him.
I agree. And
Huge bubble from Nami.
a huge bubble, yep. And man, yeah, this Kai'Sa's really coming through. So,
Absolutely.
and we see just Alawi split pushing bot with that Herald. The Herald's going to get the tower. Actually, I'm curious to see if they choose to take the inhibitor here. Normally, I would say no, but with the Alawi with such a big lead, you would see. I actually don't disagree with taking it because there's just so much pressure.
That was the real question.
We'll see. And
Yep.
Ocean Drake's up. Ocean Drake's up. So,
And Sejuani's beelining over there right now, so they might just be trading Alawi for Drake.
you'd think, and Alawi might even get a 1-for-1 here.
Or
This
or Alawi
Alawi.
can just do that.
Wow.
And if they manage to start stacking these oceans, right? Like if you get an ocean soul and 3 of your drakes are also ocean,
Yeah.
either one of these teams is going to be kind of hard to burst through, but especially with the Alawi being so fed and having a Swain, and again, the Karma shields on top of that are not going to hurt whatsoever.
Yep.
That ocean soul is just going to make it way harder to get through any extended team fight.
Yeah. And
So if you can't burst through your target, you're going to have a really rough time.
yeah, really great points. And with the Ocean Soul and getting multiple Ocean Drakes, that's really going to make up for these missed Swainies. I'm sorry to be so hard on this. I'm not sure if I'm saying this guy's name correctly. The Sage Kufinier, the mid laner playing Swain. He's had some really great laning, but other than that, he's missed a lot of E's. He's burned his flash after ulting when you really should be engaging with your ult to get a kill, not ulting and then flashing out of the fight. So these Ocean Drakes are really going to make up for those misplays there coming out of the mid lane.
Absolutely. Again, the Alawi play aside, I do think. Oh, we got a fight going on actually. So
Trundle might be able to start burning him down, especially with the Trundle, and they get him, and they get the shutdown onto the
1,000 gold
Silas.
and no return. Okay, never mind. A return kill.
And they're taking Baron. They're taking Baron. Can they steal? Can they steal? Oh, I
Can't
thought
steal, but do they take the fight after is the real question, and I don't think so. I think they're just gonna let them go.
Swain pops his ult. Swain's gonna try to get them, but I think he's just gonna disengage with that.
Yeah, and I think this Sejuani ult actually ended up keeping Team Crimson Moon from being able to wrap around the bottom side of the Baron pit to take that fight, which is why I think they were able to turn around onto the set there.
Really, really great analysis, and I'm not sure what that set's doing, trying to come from that angle post Baron. It looked like his team was already disengaging after Silas had popped his ult, so to be in that position is kind of questionable from that set, but once again, the set is just trying his best out there after that pretty unfortunate
sure.
laning phase.
Yeah, having played a fair bit of support set, which gets less resources, I can admit that if you are not getting resources, getting kills, getting even assists, right? Like if you don't have the gold for items, if you don't have levels, you're not nearly as threatening as you otherwise could be, and you can barely even absorb any damage. Like your W is a really great tool when you can live long enough to use it effectively. But if your whole shtick is I ulted and I stunned 2 people, but I had to take them all the way out of my team, and I cannot survive long enough for them to catch up.
Yep.
Then it really starts to feel like, oh man, my champion is useless right now just because I can't live long enough to do anything.
Yeah, especially when you're talking about not having those resources, because the way you're describing it, he's kind of playing a support set right now. He can't really be committing unless it's like to take the Caitlyn out, right? He shouldn't be. Yeah.
Nami ult.
Very nice.
Only hit one.
Yep. So we see Team Spencer here taking the fight in the river. Right now it's a 5v4 with Trundle down. I'm curious to see what they'll do here. We got Swain coming from the top river. He's probably going to throw an E, pops his Swain ult, flashes in, E's the Nami, misses it, gets the kill on the Nami though after recasting his ult. Alawi's just taking everyone in her path, though. It doesn't matter who it is, and we see Caitlyn flashing over the blue pit. She's going to ult. Doesn't even need to. Alawi just gets the kill there onto that Silas, and I think they're just going to end here with the Baron. Right now it's 2v5. They could play it slow.
Trundle will be up.
Trundle will be up, but I mean they still have a 10k gold lead
Absolutely.
with the Baron buff with all 5 up. They're at minimum they're gonna take 2 inhibitors here and look to reset
sure.
for the next dragon. But we'll see in total. And my client is bugging out.
Well, while it's doing that, I'll just say a few points. And yeah, you can definitely break the base here. And if you wanted to force from this far ahead, like you're still gonna be in a decent position to do so. But that's also the way to like throw like if you want to take that risk, like that's like the one way that Crimson Moon can come back is if Team Spencer decides, hey, we want to just keep pushing, and if you throw in the enemy base and give them a whole bunch of golden shutdowns, and all of a sudden they get enough resources to be able to start fighting again, and if the game starts to drag out, like that's like the one way that you're giving them back in, right? So it makes more sense just check all the boxes. We broke the base. We've got like 2,000, 3,000 golden base or however much they have. Let's base and buy and come back out onto the map even stronger and just keep stacking these resources. Keep using this control to like firmly close out the game rather than kind of throwing a ball in the lottery machine and hoping it comes out your way.
Yeah, it looks like they had to have forfeited there. I'm surprised that even we were 3 minutes behind their actual gameplay. So had they forfeited, you would think that it would have matched up. We would have seen it up to point of forfeit instead of just bugging out there. But they very well could have forfeited. I just didn't see it. Chat is telling me that they did forfeit. It looks like so.
It has happened in the league before too, so that would make sense.
So yeah, that did seem to be a go next. Once it was a 2v5 and they had Baron buff and were taking bot lane inhib and then pushing the mid lane inhib there. So yeah, what I'm really looking for is I'm curious to see if Team Crimson Moon is going to try to like really target ban this top laner. What they're going to try to do here. The Trundle priority was didn't really seem to come through. Maybe it works better in the second game if they go for it, but he was down a significant amount of CS.
I do want to point out, like I'm not saying that you should be taking set into Alawi, but that early on that didn't seem like it was the issue, right? The set actually had control for a bit until they had that failed dive, right? So I don't know if the matchup gets worse after the early game for the set regardless. But if you're feeling confident, like you could be looking at that and saying, okay, we had control, we just put too many resources here without getting a reward, and we actually ended up getting bit for it. So if you're willing to say we can run this back and we'll just play it a little bit safer, we won't like run under tower, waste our flash, and die, and then come back and have an Alawi who has 400 gold more than us, right? I think you can look to still play that out. What I'm curious about is also, right, because you'll recall that huge amount of priority bot lane, the tower going over. I'm wondering if you look at that and if you try to pick a lane that either has more priority, or if you try to take advantage of some of let me just check the names here, of Osnapski's engage support options.
Yeah.
And say, okay, we're going to focus that more. You're pushing up a lot, right? We're going to send our jungler and find some creative path, get him behind you and engage on you and make sure that we actually get a lead through the bot lane instead of letting the Caitlyn get fed too. Because I do think the main problem was the Alawi, but I don't know that the Alawi was the one in charge of starting that snowball, right? I think once she got that lead, she did a very good job, or he probably, presumably the player. But once the Alawi got that lead, they did a very good job of snowballing it. But I don't think that they were the one who put that lead in their own hands. And not to detract from the way they played by any means.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talked about the creative pathing coming from the jungler in order to set up all, getting that engaged support option and try to getting a lead through the bot lane. That Trundle was having some pretty unique pathing, right? He went red straight to blue to Gromp, and he was hovering over that bot lane. So it was very clear that creative pathing is something that he has the ability to do. So if they do opt to do that, it seems to be in his wheelhouse. And right now, there's a lot of good junglers that could take advantage of that. I mean, Jarvan's really strong right now. I'm not sure what else he has, but that could be something that they look towards. So,
or if you even want something with a bit of a larger range threat, right? You could always take something that, like the Nocturne, I don't think is too bad right now. And as soon as that hits level 6, right? If you've got a bot lane that can engage and can pull the trigger and has the agency to do so, as long as they're not like super far behind, you can always say, okay, like especially if you see jungler top side of the map or something, you can say, okay, I'm on this side of the map, I'm close enough to press R, just get some CC down and we kill them, right?
Yeah.
But the other alternative is they were aware that word I mentioned at the beginning of the game in the middle of the river. They were pinging that, which is I think why Trundle didn't wrap around that way.
Mm.
But you could try to play in such a way where you can actually deny that vision, right? So either have your support or your jungler start with sweeper, be waiting in that spot, and take down the ward if you know it's there, right? Like before they ever, instead of leaving it up and letting them have that control and that vision to see, oh, are we getting ganked or can we stay pushed up?
Yeah, see, that's your bot lane knowledge coming in that I just do not have. I'm curious to see. Do you think there's any like ultra strong ADC or not ADC? I guess bot lane options right now that could be a
Uh,
pick that they go towards. I know
I think Nautilus is a really strong pick in terms of those engage options. Or are you specifically asking ADCs or just bot lane in
anybody, yeah,
general?
bot lane in general. Where are you
Um,
looking to like really set yourself apart?
I think Nautilus. I know if you listen to like Freak's videos about when he's talking about, oh, these are the buffs we gave, and here's why. Like he was talking about they overbuffed Nautilus, and they did it intentionally to try to get the pro players. Because usually when the pro players start playing Engage, it starts with Nautilus. So they were trying to get the pro players to start playing Engage again, and so they overbuffed Nautilus to try to like, hey, here's this piece of Engage candy, use this,
Yeah,
right? And Nautilus pairs fantastically with the Kai'Sa, and as we saw, the Kai'Sa wasn't doing too badly either, and was able to get kills in fights as well, right? So Nautilus presses R. That's like free R for Kai'Sa. Like if you've ever got the advantage there, that's huge. I think Alistar is also pretty good right now, but not quite as aggressive, and certainly not going to be nearly as good into a pushing lane like Karma, Caitlyn. The level 1 would be miserable, and it's just a question of if you can stabilize after that. So I think Nautilus would be the better option with a far greater level 1 threat.
I think that is an absolutely wonderfully impressive analysis there.
Oh, thanks for the kind words.
Of course, I'll absolutely try to bring the same to the mid lane. I think when I think of like a Nautilus counter, like I'm thinking possibly a Lulu or something, or maybe even
Maybe, yeah.
a Morgana. So if they do opt for that Nautilus, I'm curious to see if they're going to try to counterpick it, and what they would want to counterpick that into, and what their response would be if they do opt for that Nautilus first and let the other team counterpick. So
For sure.
really curious to see what that would look like.
The Morg can work. If it's like the Nautilus Kai'Sa, again, the issue it becomes like Kai'Sa can do, if I recall, like a fair bit of AP damage too, right? So if you can break that spell shield on Morg, and especially if Morg isn't maxing that, well, one, if Morg is maxing the spell shield, then she loses a lot of her other threat, right? Because she's either not dealing as much damage with her W, or her root isn't lasting as long. Right? So if you can break that spell shield from Morg, then all of a sudden Nautilus can still do his thing. So it can definitely work, especially early. Personally, I like other neutralizing picks. So I think again, jumping back to the Alistar, to be fair, I used to main him a lot. Works really well into Nautilus. Level 1, Alistar can't really do much, but into champs like Nautilus, where their big threat is I engage on you, your Q is really fantastic for saying, okay, and you can even Q in advance. Like as soon as Nautilus's Q is about to hit you, you press Q, you knock him up, walk away, he doesn't get the root, and you just kind of both walk away and say, okay, that's fine, right? So he can neutralize the Nautilus. He can also actually walk to the other side once you hit level 2 and beyond and get that W and put him out of position and say, okay, now if we're both hitting each other, right, and especially if that Nautilus isn't getting ahead, the issue with him is he does start to feel like wet paper in terms of tank supports if he falls behind. So yeah, any kind of neutralizing pick that says, okay, when you engage on us, like we're not actually too worried about that, is pretty happy. I think actually Set, if they were willing to flex it, I don't think their support plays it, also works into Nautilus in a similar manner where it's like, okay, yeah, you jumped on me, but I stood in front of my ADC, so you can't do anything to them, and I'm happy to tank all this up.
I just sent you the draft link. We are live in draft right now.
Oh, wonderful.
So we see Crimson Moon opt for the Zeri, and now Caitlyn ban as well. Team Spencer is on blue side once again. Crimson Moon is on red side. We see the Camille Zac ban coming out of Team Spencer. That Zac is really strong right now, so that doesn't surprise me. And then the Ahri once again. I will say his Sylas was strong, so
That was the one winning lane that they had, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. And he was really impactful in those team fights that they did win there for that short period of time. Even though the Kai'Sa was picking up those kills, I didn't get to see the damage charts there at the end, but it wouldn't shock me if Sylas led that game in damage for the side of Team Crimson Moon. So, it makes sense though for Team Spencer to keep banning the Ahri because it worked for them last game. Don't want to give the guy his favorite pick, but
Exactly.
You know, we see the Sejuani first pick once again for Team Spencer, which worked out really well. And if if you have a really strong top lane carry, Sejuani is just a solid rock when you're in the jungle. That ult is just relevant for the entire game. Once you hit it, you have it to gank lanes, you have it to steal objectives. If you're losing the game, you can always throw it in. And it is just really great AoE. We see the Warwick response.
So is this? Do you think this is blind top, jungle, or flex? Because I don't recall seeing Warwick on anybody here.
I can't imagine this is a Warwick top. Um, really think that they're gonna probably try to counterpick the top laner if possible, since they are last pick.
I would think so. Yeah.
To give that top laner the highest probability of making up for that lost lane last game. But once again, they did counterpick that Alawi, so we'll see how it goes if they do get the counterpick this time on the side of Team Crimson Moon and how they can make up for that. They do.
We do see the Xayah as well.
Yeah, we do see the Xayah and the Warwick here. What are you looking to see that Xayah be paired with just blindly? Not. Oh, well, they picked the Jinx. Is there anything in specific you're looking for? Is it the Nautilus?
With which? Sorry, with the Xayah or with the Jinx?
With the Xayah.
With the Xayah, I think you wait and see what they pick on the support, right? Like Xayah can either. I don't really know how relevant this is anymore. I've more paid attention to supports than ADCs. But I know Xayah can be also like a pretty pokey kind of lane, which would make sense that they banned the Caitlyn because I believe Caitlyn will be able to contest that pretty well.
Yep.
I think Jinx can too. The other reason you would pick Xayah is if you want to be safe, especially in team fights, right? So if you feel like there's a lot of threat, right now into the Lulu, I think you're kind of. I would look to lean into the poke more. Pick something with range that can harass her like from outside of the polymorph range, right? Like Lulu can slow you down, sure, but like Jinx isn't like it's not like a Twitch, it's not like a Vayne who's like, oh yeah, if I get sped up and in your face, like that I'm gonna kill you right away. Like the only thing is if Jinx gets excited, then the Lulu becomes really scary, right? So yeah, you could look for the Leona and just be like, okay, I think we can all in you right through the Lulu polymorph. That's a bit of a gamble, I think. But with the Xayah, I think something like I like Karma into Lulu if you're willing to go like into the mage off meta, or if you wanted to still lean into like the ADC supports. I do think that Lulu is a little bit susceptible to being outranged, or she's gonna have to burn her mana spamming E on the minions and trying to queue off of that. But I guess we'll see. They opted for the engage, which I would have liked to see last game with the Xayah instead. But again, I can understand wanting to go range into Karma Caitlyn.
Yeah, we see Team Crimson Moon banning the Sylas away this game. They're the ones who played it last game, so that's an interesting move. I wonder if they're trying to bait Team Spencer into a specific mid lane pick here. When I'm looking from mid lane from the side of Team Spencer here, I'm really looking for a really strong control mage. I really like Victor here. I could even see some Aurelion Sol, actually, just with how broken he can be right now. I also could see a nice Galio pick if you go AP Galio and having that global threat. Having a Galio mixed with a Sejuani, the CC is just absolutely nutty in that mid-jungle duo. So I'm looking for something with a lot of CC or a lot of AoE damage from the...
And the melee with Sejuani works really nicely too. My concern, if it was a Galio on the side of Team Spencer, would be like if you can get your Sejuani to like actually like dash into a fight. Like I think you want to find somewhere where your ult is going to be useful. So that's either we're playing through Jinx and she's the hyper carry, so my ult is to make sure that she doesn't get dove or that she's not like getting like flanked in like a team fight where somebody gets onto the back line. Right? I don't know if depending like early on, I don't think Galio Sejuani will have a ton of damage, but again, they might have enough CC to make up for it and be able to get a kill anyways.
Yeah, AP Galio, if you can get the Hextech alternator early, his damage is deceptive. I will say his Q damage, absolutely, with the proc of the Hextech alternator. If you can, get that, it's the 40-second cooldown on it. Looks like they do give that mid lane Kayle to the side of Team Spencer into the Syndra. I'm really curious if they were trying to bait that with him being like a Kayle. It looked more like a Kayle one trick than anything. in the
What's
mid.
your take on the matchup there?
Yeah, I was about to go into that. I actually really,
sorry.
no, you're good. Don't be sorry. I really like the Syndra pick here, in baiting in the Kale because Syndra has the range to early really shut Kale down. If you're really good at hitting your
For sure.
Qs and hitting those E's off them, especially if we see some Leona roams, that's the big thing as a mid laner. Is if I'm playing with a Leona and I have CC, and you can chain CC with that Leona, you can get some really, really great early mid kills. Curious to see if that Leona does roam. You have a lot of CC on the side of Team Crimson Moon. You have that Warwick Fear, you have the Syndra, obviously you have the Leona, you have the Root from the Xayah, and then we have this wonderful global from Gangplank. So into the
Absolutely.
Scion. It looks like Team Spencer is opting for the Scion. Curious to see how what was it, Kodak Jack, something, Kodak Mac, I believe,
Kodak Mac, yeah.
and how he looks. And we are all good to go. Just want to all right, says they're gonna team Crimson Moon looked like they were asking for a quick bathroom break. So we're just going to let them do that while we
Sure.
discuss the game here a little bit longer. So, yeah, I really like the Syndra here. Syndra is an amazing scaling champion. Crimson Moon, unfortunately, didn't get to a point last game where had they had a Syndra, it would have mattered at all. But if they can even get to a 30 to 35 minute game, Syndra can take over and win a game just by herself. She can.
Oh yeah, because of the rework, right?
Yeah, well, not just the rework, which I'm not sure what you mean by rework. Could you?
Well, they kind of did the mid scope a while ago, right? Where she starts getting these shards now. When I don't know if it's when she lands certain abilities or how that works. My twin would know more. He's the mid lane player. Regardless, what I'm seeing is a couple of things interesting about this draft. One, so you were talking about the Kale. They also let the Gangplank through, right?
Yep.
And so that seemed to be Crimson Moon's their Kodak Max kind of signature pick. So we'll see if that works better than the set did. The thing I'm looking at though, you were talking about Leona roaming into a ranged lane. Again, if you can't get that priority, and again, it's Jinx has got the range with the rockets. You've also got Lulu with the ranged autos under Q and whatever else.
Yep.
If you can't get that prio, I'd actually be looking at Syndra to get it instead and roam down bot, maybe with the Warwick, because right, you're into Kale. So pre-6, correct me if I'm wrong, I would assume that Syndra can get the push, just because of how Kale works. She's not really a range champion until later on, right?
Yeah,
and then on
she's
top
a
of that,
weaker laner. Yeah.
exactly. And then on top of that, you got the Gangplank, who doesn't even need to go bot. He's got his ultimate rate at level 6. So if you can find time, especially if you can, whether it's mid, whether it's jungle, or whether that's them both syncing up, if you can find a time to get them both in on this Jinx Lulu with a lane that has lockdown, like the Leona, like the Xayah, if she can land her root as well.
Yep.
Right, and throw the Gangplank on top of that. I would like to see Crimson Moon, and not just because of my bot lane bias, I would actually like to see them play through the bot lane there. I think Xayah scales, not like, she's not the most hyper scaling ADC of all time, but she does scale quite well. And I think that with this team, if you're playing through damage threats like Xayah and Syndra, with a front line of Leona and Warwick, the only thing that I'm looking at and saying a little bit of Sion is going to get like a lot of health if the game goes long enough. Lulu scales really well in terms of empowering hyper carries. Jinx scales really incredibly well, and so does Kale, right? So like my thing is try to get that lead. I think bot lane makes the most sense here, but then capitalize on that, snowball it and end the game before Team Spencer's like late game, like 40-minute Exodia hand actually that comes into play.
I think that Team Spencer late game Exodia hand is very much in play, but Gangplank Syndra late game champions are also Exodia. Like if you're hitting Gangplank barrels full build level 18, you can 60%, 75% some champion health, Obviously not to a Sion or Sejuani, but you can destroy a Lulu or a Jinx. So
I did see a game, and if I recall, I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure that my Ezreal, because I'm pretty sure I was playing in this game, and I'm pretty sure my Ezreal was pretty fed this game. And one Gangplank barrel over wall that he didn't see blew up, and my Ezreal went from 100 HP, or sorry, 100% HP, my bad, to 0% HP.
Yeah.
From one barrel, and just died. And so yeah, that's very much a possibility, and I absolutely hate it. So yeah, by no means, if it goes late, does that mean that Crimson Moon is out?
No.
But again, I do think Kale, especially late game, is incredibly scary. I think Jinx is incredibly
Jinx.
scary.
Yep.
You've got a huge front line with Sion
The
and Sejuani,
tanks. Yep.
and then Lulu again to empower both of your auto-based carries, and that's who Lulu really likes to empower, right? Her
Yep.
W increases move speed and auto speed. Her
Yep.
her shield increases their or gives them extra damage on their autos as well.
It does.
Right. So you're looking at this and I think that it's like, unless you're finding like a really, really good barrel or like a really great like Syndra stun ultimate combo, which is totally possible. But I think if it goes late, it's really, really going to be up to Crimson Moon to get creative and find a fight that works. Whereas I think if it just ends up being a straight front to back, I think Team Spencer will win in that.
100%.
So I do want to see them get a lead, again, ideally through bot and snowball that, get enough control, get enough objective control and map control, and finish the game before it gets to that point is, I think, their best plan.
Yeah, I think what's really gonna cripple Crimson Moon if they can't get it done when you're talking about this playing through bot, which I completely agree with, and I'm pretty sure is their priority too, since last game they were with picking the Xayah here, this game seemed to have a little bit, and the Leona in the first round of picks and bans, that they're really prioritizing getting what they want in the bottom lane there. And if Gangplank like throws his ult and with that huge cooldown and they get nothing out of it on his first ult thrown, that could be a huge window for Team Spencer to come back in and just take a huge lead. So
Sure.
we'll see how they utilize that Gangplank ult early, and the first time they use it in particular, especially if, like you said, if they can get the CC down in the bot lane, so that GP ult, get a kill or two, that could blow this game open, get some priorities, and then lane prio, and then start stacking some dragons there. And I also think that the dragon in this game could play a huge difference. Like if we're talking an Infernal Drakes, both teams want those. If we're talking like Ocean Drakes, if you're Team Crimson Moon, you want to deny those from this tanky frontline Sion Sejuani. So it doesn't necessarily really benefit you other than your Leona, but like if it's an Ocean Drake soul, you cannot even give Ocean Drakes over to the side of Team Spencer, if I'm Team Crimson Moon.
You definitely wouldn't want to.
Yeah, no, I think it's GG if they get even 2 Ocean Drakes, and that's just the way I view it. You really got to make sure that you're not giving those Drakes away. If it's like something like a Cloud Drake or a Hextech, both teams benefit equally from that. I mean, I guess Kale and Jinx with the Hextech benefit a little bit more because late game they're both ranged and can really take advantage of that Hextech proc there. But
exactly.
Other than that, I'm really curious to see what dragon it is. And hey, D, my good buddy D is here. We're just getting into game 2, D. So, Team Spencer won game 1 over here. This is best of 3. I'm here with my co-caster. Is it Pins?
It is Pins. And sorry, I forgot your casting name as well.
Pugsley. Pugsley.
Pardon me?
Pugsley.
All right, Pugsley. I'm gonna type that in my little draft notes thing so I don't forget.
Yeah, and so and we did get a clarification from chat. So they said 2 abilities landed within 10 seconds on the same champion gives you Syndra Shards, and what those do is they up your abilities, and I'm assuming the damage is what they mean on that. And then killing cannons.
I believe so, if I recall.
Killing cannons also gives you shards. So it looks like there's 2 ways to get them. You want to make sure you're not inting your cannons away. And then if you can hit 2 abilities within 10 seconds. I'm not a Syndra player, but I actually can't believe off the top of my head I didn't know that mechanic with Syndra as a mid laner. But
it's, I think, a few months old, maybe half a year.
Syndra's one of those champs as someone who, as a mid laner, I play a lot of control mages. I really love Lissandra, really love Anivia, really like Ziggs.
Stream it, by the way, on the Discord. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. I really just dislike.
I'm Canadian. I'm just gonna keep apologizing. That's how it works.
You're good. You're good. Okay, so what they're saying is it evolves your abilities at 40 shards, your Q is upgraded, and you can store 2 charges with your Q. And then cannon equals 1 shard, 2 abilities within 10 seconds equals 1 shard, and a level up equals 5 shards.
Okay, so I do want to... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm getting that stream for you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I do want to add just one thing to the whole like playthrough bot. You can't see, I'm using my fingers for air quotes right now, mentality. And that's that, like, you're talking about Leona roaming, right? So if you can, because I do think that Syndra will get the most reliable prio early, maybe the Gangplank with Sejuani, but if Syndra gets this priority and she roams and gets some bot lane ahead,
Yep.
right? What that does is then that empowers bot lane to get priority, even though they're melee into ranged matchup. And again, I do think that the support buffs, I don't recall if any of them actually were targeted at Leona or not, but at least with the itemization changes, where the mana and the charge time is down on the spell thieves,
Yep.
and the relic shield and steel guards, the health regen is up. That should help as well. But basically, if you get your bot lane ahead, that gives them the opportunity to get priority, even if they otherwise wouldn't be able to. And that's when it becomes really easy for Leona to start roaming, right? Oh, we've pushed the wave in under their tower, right? We're not necessarily trying to stick around for plates. So we're just kind of sitting here. We've got downtime, right? Like
Dragon's
Xayah can
not
walk
up.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah, Dragon's not up. So Leona can come down, sweep out the river, and say, oh, look, they didn't have vision there. And if they're not respecting that I'm gone from bot lane, I can come in, I can ult, right? Like they kind of have to either risk thinking, okay, can I step around Leona's abilities,
Yep.
or risk that dive, right? So then it becomes a question of how aware are they, and do they have anybody waiting for backup, right? Like is Sejuani waiting on the other side, something like that. So basically, if you want to see Syndra get snowballed, then I think that's actually her best avenue. Also, is getting bot ahead so that bot then can come back and return the favor.
And it's not always just getting the kill. You can just burn Kael's ult, and that's a successful Leona roam. Like burning Kael ult makes her
Exactly.
so vulnerable, especially when she's pre-11,
Especially against somebody
316.
like Syndra, who's really looking to burst at like half health or less. Yeah.
1,000%. Yeah, you couldn't have said that better. I also want to point out here that the runes that they took, we have Gangplank with First Strike and Syndra with First Strike on the side of Team Crimson Moon. So that's really, really aggressive. They're really looking to get, some, what's the money printer is what they call it when you take First Strike. You're trying to do
For sure.
money printer.
Especially on somebody like Gangplank,
Yeah,
who's already
especially.
getting extra passive income anyways.
Exactly. Yep. Well said. So same thing we see as last game. We see Warwick on the side of Team Crimson Moon take his red, go straight to blue, take the Gromp, and he's looking for this bot lane. It looks like he's going to meet this Jinx right here in River. They got that nice
priority
ward.
to ward that out so they can catch that in time, which is nice for them.
Yeah.
It does mean they have to back off a little bit though until they know where Warwick is. That he's not still waiting to catch them.
And Warwick's looking to take this red here. He's going to meet Sejuani at this red. This could be a big bad move for Warwick.
I really don't like that with
Yeah, she's cleared four camps. He's only cleared 3. Granted, he has 2 buffs. She only has 1, and she doesn't even have a red buff yet. But nonetheless, that could have been detrimental if Jinx and Lulu had rotated earlier and predicted that. So,
okay, I can actually give him some credit then, because the bot lane did see, Jinx and Lulu are still in lane. So if they're communicating, hey, yeah, Warwick is they've got prio, they can rotate first, but we see them, right? As long as Warwick can get out before you either see Kael rotating or Jinx and Lulu, all right. If you're just pressuring the Sejuani off, I guess it's not a huge deal either way. But Jinx and Lulu have to give up a bit of prio to rotate. So then there's still a little bit of net gain, as long as you're not wasting more time for the Warwick than you are for the bot lane.
Yeah, very well said. We're in the mid lane, we're seeing Tai T having a huge impact, just like he did last game on that Sylas versus Swain matchup. He was getting some really great early trades into that Swain, and same thing with the Syndra into Kael. He's just absolutely clobbering in those early trades. We already see a back from Kael, so he's gonna have to burn her TP, and we're gonna see Syndra have the TP advantage, which is humongous. Especially
off the back actually. So now Kael's gonna lose even more if she still bases. Well, just gonna lose the TP, I guess. But it does give Syndra the opportunity to shove that in.
And stopped it again!
Again! Wow.
Wow, and she's still backing by that turret. I'm curious as to what's going through this Kael's mind, because if...
I like the Leona angle here.
Oh, very well said. Yep. Oh, that's nice Xayah damage.
Wow.
And we're going to see a double kill here. I'll be shocked. Yeah, you see the flash coming in from the Xayah. You see Flash burning her, Xayah burning her flash, Jinx flashing in response. Really great first blood on the side of Eye for Fun, bot laner
Absolutely.
for Team Crimson Moon. So once again, we're seeing if this Kodak Matt can hard carry his team to a victory. We're seeing an early 600 gold lead for the side of Team Crimson Moon, and that could be really big because last game they played from a deficit the entire game. This is their first lead in this series, so we'll see what they can do with that. If they can turn it.
I think they have to be careful not to overstay here. Actually, no, there's nobody here. They can just fight it, yeah.
No, yeah, they're trying to get a huge lead onto this ADC down here, and taking that Xayah pick early, it really shows what their game plan is. And I'm really liking this Warwick pick more than this Trundle, because he's making way more use of this Warwick than he did with the Trundle. early. And looking at the CS here, not seeing really any CS differences. Obviously a CS difference in the side of the jungle, but this Warwick's making plays down here. Syndra already backed and didn't have to burn her TP, which is huge. Syndra has the same amount of CS, more items, and she has her TP still. So that is a massive advantage in the mid lane.
Actually manages to disengage from the Sejuani, at least for time enough to get her chased off by the Warwick and the Leona, so that's good.
Yeah.
I was going to say the Dragon start earlier seemed a little bit risky, but with the priority mid lane and the Syndra able to roam down,
Yep.
it seemed okay.
The Gangplank ult came in, really turned that fight. We
Very
see
nice,
Sejuani
yeah.
flashing out. That Syndra, we see the kill onto the Warwick. Really unfortunate that Leona did get a kill down in the bot lane earlier. If that kill did go to that ADC, that would have been even just nuttier for this lead. So we're seeing a 2k gold lead on the side of Team Crimson Moon, really turning this around from last game. Looks like we're going to see a 3-game series from the side of it.
This trade, even with that huge minion wave, is still going in the favor of Xayah, which is absolutely crazy because it's a 2v1 here.
Yeah, and it's Xayah's level 5 because she's getting that solo EXP. When they were in that mid lane fight earlier, Xayah was by herself for a little bit longer. So, yeah, she's level 5, has more items, has the kill over the Jinx. This is looking bad on all angles. We just do not want to see this Gangplank throw. That is what I am looking for because we all know that what Kodak Matt can do up in this top lane.
Oh, we've got the Sejuani. I don't know if it's going to be enough. Oh, yeah, it should be.
Yep. Burn the Ignite there on the Lulu. That was a real nice Ignite to make sure that they get the kill. Ooh, Syndra misses her stun, but that ult comes down on the Jinx. Yep. Here we go. Man, 6 kills to 1. We're looking at almost a 3k gold lead early here in game 2 for the side of Team Crimson Moon. And you just got to imagine that they're going to rotate, take this Ocean Drake, and hopefully stop a cross-map trade later from this Sejuani. If I'm that Sejuani, I'm probably asking Kodak Mac to help me with Herald if it does get to that point.
Yeah, I do love the adaptation and the fact that they managed to take a draft and say this is the clear game plan that this draft wants to do and execute on it. Like you can even look, they got the early kills in the bot lane, and Leona, first thing she does, buy Mobies. So now like I haven't seen her roam since then, but that does empower her to do so if they do choose to make that happen.
Yeah.
Right? So you can spread that lead around.
Absolutely, absolutely. Taking those Mobies on the side of Leona, and she already has that completed stopwatch there because she has a 100% kill participation on that side of that Leona. Having that completed stopwatch 8 minutes in is so massive. That could really turn team fight, especially if she goes for a dive, starts taking aggro. They're able to secure the kill. She could flash out potentially once her flash is back up. So everything's looking great on the side of Team Crimson Moon, and we also see P Diddy here, the top laner. He's really holding his own. He's just playing weak side, letting this Sion push in, farming up, keeping an even farm, eating his oranges and taking his corrupting pots, and just not letting the Sion do what he wants to do, and not making any unnecessary dives like he did last game, and quite honestly, making that game very hard to win for the side of Team Crimson Moon. So
exactly,
really good play up here.
One play goes over. Oh, wait.
Who won that? I couldn't tell.
I gotta assume that it was Team Spencer simply just because that wasn't picked up when Crimson Moon was still standing over it. Yeah, Team Spencer got it, and they had to back off and let them take it.
And we see the Sion rotating. This is a 3v4 here, but we do see that Gangplank ult come out, maybe for disengage, and I just don't know what's going on up here. It really looks like Team Spencer's just going to win this. Maybe they'll get one. Maybe Team Crimson Moon will get one, and they do get one. They do get that. So
the Warwick healing.
That's a 1 for 3 plus.
And they gave over Rift Herald.
And they got the Herald, but it's still a 3k gold lead, almost a 3,500 gold lead for the side. So, all in all, this is still a massive lead for the side of Team Crimson Moon. And looking up here, we see Syndra's obviously going for that Ludens. This Kale's, for being a Kale one-trick's at a real big disadvantage here. Getting those backs stopped really set her back early in lane. And then obviously the Xayah is just so far ahead that they can pretty much do whatever they want. They took that the full plated turret under
Exactly.
10 minutes. They got a full plated turret in under 10 minutes without
As
Herald. That is
as a
nutty.
support player, like that, when your team does that, like when you and your ADC take the turret that fast, it feels so good. But when that happens against you, it's just like the worst thing in the world. It's like, okay, well, at least now, like maybe we can farm safely, when it's pushed back to us. But
Nicely on ult
it
in
just
the mid
feels like you've
lane.
absolutely failed.
Sorry to cut you off. Nicely on
No, no,
ult
no
in
worries.
the mid lane. All the CC, we see Kale popping her ult. And yeah, this is a complete 180 in terms of what we saw last game. We were talking about what they did up at that Herald, and that cross map of Xayah getting that bot turret is probably just bigger and better. Because now that Xayah can just straight up roam. That Xayah backed. That Xayah's probably sitting on a ton of gold too. It doesn't look like she's even cashed all that gold in. She should be able to get her mythic in. We see that Sejuani ult. That's a kind of a questionable ult there. Not really know what he's going for on that. Not really an engage or a disengage. His team
They bought
wasn't
space
quite
in the
there.
mid lane, but yeah, aside from that, I don't think it was worth the ult.
Yeah, absolutely not. Nice Jinx W. Oh, wow. Really great Jinx play
Oh,
there. That Jinx W set up that play. Really good vision clearing from that Sejuani to make sure that they had the angle to finish off that play once Jinx hit that W. So really nice play. That Sejuani is really making plays. This series. All in all, despite Kodak Max playing game one, I think Sejuani has had the most consistent series thus far. Really set up plays. Really done what she needed to do to like help her team get and keep leads and fight back in this deficit in this game.
getting plates for Jinx too.
get-
So like that late game scaling is coming online eventually, like a little bit closer than it was before.
Yeah, I was just about to make that point. Putting the plates onto the Jinx, that's a pretty reasonable play there. That's where the big gap is in this game. And we see this Warwick just come in, flying. Kodak Mac just not giving the respect there to the Warwick coming in. And that Warwick taking lethal tempo too. He's just going to be doing some damage when it comes to team fights, getting those kills. We still see not much of a CS
it feels
gap.
bad when you're a solo laner and the ADC is the same level as you, I will say.
It feels bad when you're Kale and you're getting 1v1 killed by a Xayah, man. That
Exactly.
just feels disgusting.
I will say one thing that I do think Crimson Moon has to be a little bit careful of. I think we've seen this a couple of times. Is they've had a big lead. They had those big plays bought. They got that Drake, and then all of a sudden they're taking a 3v4 on Rift Herald on the other side of the map. Later on, again, they make that big play. Then they take the tower. They rotate up. They're in mid lane with a ton of gold on the Xayah, and they ended up not necessarily choosing a fight, but being a part of one where I believe it was Syndra who got caught out, and yet again. Where I think they just need to not overforce their hand, right? Like take the time to back and not stand so far up if your team can't be there with you, right? Take the lead you've got and don't give anything back for it. You know, like you can afford to reset every once in a while and just try to keep tempo that way.
Yeah, I think there's some really big positioning play errors on the side of the Syndra. This game is not over by any means. If they can somehow get this steal here, we got Sejuani in the area. If they can stop this dragon sacking, that would be huge. Sejuani going for the gangplank. Not sure what she's doing there. Gangplank getting that kill. We're starting to see this Gangplank is huge now. And
there's that stopwatch we were talking about earlier too.
Yeah, exactly. She had it for quite some time. Now that it's 14 minutes in, she probably would have had it by now, regardless. But she had it 6-7 minutes into the game, so just having it ready whenever was a huge advantage, and she chooses to use it then, which was a phenomenal time. They get to keep this dragon stacking, keep their 4K gold lead, and we'll see what soul this is. I'm really curious if it's anything but Cloud. It could make a difference in this game slightly. If it's an Infernal, and it's a Chemtech. Okay.
That could work quite nicely, especially when you don't have, like, again, like, sure, you've got a Leona and she's got Aftershock, right? So she'll be quite tanky.
Yep.
But beyond that, like, you don't have like a true frontline, right? You've got a Warwick, but if you're taking half damage, like, or not half, but if you're taking reduced damage the moment you're at half health or less, especially on somebody with a lot of healing, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think Warwick heals more the lower he is, right? Or something like that, or his attack speed is up, something like that.
It's both. I think it is his attack speed.
Yeah, and he does heal off of his autos too, right? So basically, the lower he is, the more powerful he is, and that's just going to accentuate that, and that's going to help them to have a real front line.
And we see
Also, they
this,
find Sejuani.
yeah, this
Sorry, go ahead.
this Leona Roman with her Warwick there. We're talking about those Leona Roams getting that early turret and throwing Cinder down here just to like hold down bot lane and letting that Leona just roam is so big for those shutdowns. It pretty much puts their jungler just making sure they need to have vision in their jungle wherever they could be flanked from, because that's what's going to happen is they're going to throw that Leona with the Warwick and you're going to be CC'd to death. So especially with that Gangplank threat always being able to rotate down. So we see Team Crimson Moon take the second Herald. They're going to drop it immediately in the mid lane, try to get this mid lane turret. We see Jinx trying to zone off. She's getting some really nice combos. We see the double blast cone there from the Kimtech Soul be really beneficial there to that Warwick trying to disengage.
Absolutely.
And
Don't know if that ult was needed.
yeah, I don't think it was, but better safe than sorry when you have a lead like this. So
Sure, we'll give benefit of the doubt. They've gotten that lead. They're the ones winning right now, so I'll say, yeah, if you're doing it right.
yeah, after last game, you just gotta be so happy what's going on for the side of Team Crimson Moon. I'm really happy for the Sweat League, first series of the year in the Sweat League, and looks like we're gonna be gearing up for three game series. We got Lulu throwing her ult down in the bot lane down on the Sejuani. That is a big old Poro rider. Yeah, this is not looking good. If I am Team Crimson Moon, I'm looking to disengage here. This is going on way too long. We see Sejuani re-engage, and we see that Warwick just get destroyed once Kayle throws out her ult. And once again, those double blast cones just being really beneficial for the side of Team Crimson Moon. That was a really overextension and just unneeded fight by the side of Team Crimson Moon. They just really let that draw out, and then Team Spencer just took advantage of it and bided their time, let that Lulu ult really help out that Sejuani there. So,
yeah, no, unfortunately, they didn't have, they had all their waves pushed. There's no objective spawning soon, so it's not like they can actually take anything off of the Warwick dying there.
Yep.
But we've got another example, again, of Crimson Moon having a big lead and just overplaying their hand a little bit too much, right? And if they do that too often this game, I do fear that they could let it go late enough that all of a sudden, Jinx, Lulu, Kayle with this big front line of Sejuani and Sion is going to become a problem. So I think that they just need to play with a bit of control and say, okay, look, we've got a lead, we've got full control of this game, we're accelerating that. There's no reason to take unnecessary risks for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that burst coming down, and Kayle did not have ult, so that was a really great CC chain there. Not sure if the Leona ult was necessary, but I'm not sure if they knew that Kayle did not have the ult there, but they just, secured the kill, made sure that Kayle, if she did have her ult, couldn't use it.
It also keeps her in place because she had flash too, right? So it does secure the kill in that way, which is nice.
Very, very good point. Yeah, she does have her flash. Had they all in there and let her burn her flash, that's still a win. But we see a fight here down by mid lane turret for side of Team Spencer. We see the TP coming in from Gangplank. Sion's just frontlining this. We see Leona going to their back line. Yeah, going real deep. We see the Lulu ult onto the Sion, but that was a big mistake. That was a real late ult on the side of Lulu. Pretty sure she had that for the entire fight. And we see the Sion zombie trying to get a kill here. And we see Xayah just clean up with the triple kill in the back line. Quadra, are we going to get our first Pinta this year? And we get... Oh, and unfortunately...
Report Taiti.
Yeah, report that Syndra. If I am the side of Team Crimson Moon, I am looking for a new mid laner. I am a mid lane player myself. Side of Team Crimson Moon, you could, if you want to be a caster Taiti, let me know, because that was not cool, my friend. Now, we do got this dragon coming up here shortly, so...
Same question about the early inhibitor. Do they take it or do they leave it?
Well, yeah, exactly, and we are...
And they leave it.
Yeah, they absolutely, yeah, exactly. Same question as earlier. And so you were talking about Team Crimson Moon overextending, letting them back into this game fight by fight. But every time they let them back into the game, they'd win the next fight. So that happened 2 times. They lost a fight, then they win a fight. And so they're just keeping this lead, getting the ace there. Don't know what that Leona's doing, but don't know if they're actually going to be able to get this dragon. They still do have that 10K gold lead.
Of gold if they base, right? So it's probably, I would guess, closer to like maybe a 6K right now until they spend their gold.
You're reading my mind exactly. It's about to say they had not cashed that in, and it looks like they're just going to back off, let them take this dragon and cash in, which is the smart move. Not sure what that Leona was doing, but that is a really, really great decision for late game play and just for the duration of this game to make sure that they keep this lead. Still got a 10k lead. That's pretty good for Team Spencer. The best they could ask for. They get the pick and they stop this dragon stacking. And to be honest, the tenacity could be really, really crucial here if they can stack these Kim Tech. So, especially with that big old front line, so they won't get slowed down much, and they can just make sure that they're tanking those shots. We'll see what's going on here. Are they going to look for the Baron? What do you think?
They could force and turn if they wanted to. They've got the Leona ult and the Warwick ult, right? So they could basically say, you have to come to us. As long as they don't get too low on the Baron here, they can, and if they have the proper vision set up, they can just turn with their ults and say, okay, look, we found a target and we're killing them. I don't think Sion would be the right one, but Lulu would definitely be worth bursting down.
Yep, absolutely. And we're going to see a double kill here. Or two.
There we go. And now...
2 for nothing.
Sorry. Yeah, now once they get rid of the Sion, if they stay healthy enough, they can just turn back to the Baron and say, okay, if you want to come fight us again, we'll 5v for you. Or they can just fight without even going on the Baron. Kill has to flash.
They could, or they could just push in top lane and force them and get another inhibitor cracked open, or, you know, the turret inhibitor down. So there's a lot of plays you can make here. You know, right now it's a 2v5, and they're still not looking at this Baron. They're just aggressive. The Sejuani able to disengage there. She popped her ult earlier in that fight, so she didn't even have that ult. Didn't even need that ult to disengage. And that Lulu's back up, and it looks like they forfeited. The stream is down. So this happened again. Maybe they didn't forfeit, and they just ended up ending. But I wonder what's going on. Maybe we need to get this fixed out, because... even though we're 3 minutes behind, as soon as the game's over on their end, it ends for us. So, not entirely sure what's going on there. We're going to need to get that hashed out. But with the first stream of the year going to a Game 3, what do you think there, Pins?
I think, well, one, I don't think that game was an auto loss at that point. It was definitely looking a little bit grim. But again, I think that they could have played for... There were continually times where Crimson Moon... again, overplayed. That last one you were criticizing Leona, and she definitely went in at a poor time. And once she Zenith bladed in, there was no coming out, right? So at that point, just walk farther back and be like, okay, come kill me, don't kill my team.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't think that game actually had to be over there, if the forfeit is indeed what happened. But I definitely like the turn from Crimson Moon where they picked the draft and said, look, we've got a clear plan, we're gonna follow it, and we're gonna win off of that. Thoughts going forward. I would like to see them try to put their top laner, Team Spencer, put the top laner P. Diddy, Kodak Mac, back on somebody who has a bit more agency to carry.
Yep.
Right, he was winning lane both times. The Illaoi ended up absolutely taking over the game.
Yeah.
Right, and we've shown the bot lane, both sides are capable of winning the matchups pretty hard. So I think if you can get your top laner on something that's comfortable and can carry the game, and just make sure the rest of your map is stable, I think based on the limited sample size that I have, that's what I would like to see from them.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point. Putting him on a carry most certainly would be great. The Sion did not work out, and possibly taking away that Gangplank, because they will have side selection and pick here. So I'm curious to see if they'll actually opt for red side and want to take last pick there. I'm also curious to see if they recognize that the jungler on the side of Team Crimson Moon pathed the exact same both games. He went red, went blue, went Gromp, and then he actually invaded... this game, he hung around bot for a little bit. That Lulu roamed up. We saw it get the ward, got the vision, and then he went into the red side of the Sejuani jungle. So both junglers taking the exact same path, both games. Sejuani went for a traditional clear both times, starting on the blue. And so I'm curious to see what these junglers decide to do differently, if they're just going to keep it, change it up, or if they're going to look to prioritize something different. So
what I'm hearing is, if you're playing either of these teams in week 2, take notes, watch their jungler, and then capitalize on what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. As someone who, like I said, I'm a mid lane main. My secondary role is jungler. I'm really big on looking at jungle patterns of enemy junglers. So, especially when I'm playing customs with friends, I like to know what their jungle patterns are. So if you're playing in a league, really crucial, especially as a mid laner, not even as a jungler, knowing what the enemy jungler likes to do, whether it's just the champion itself likes to do. Like, obviously, a good example would be a Karthus always has to start blue. If you're playing against a Karthus and you're a mid laner, you know where he's going to be.
Yeah.
Or, you know, so... other teams in this league definitely take note. Mid laners, junglers, take note what these junglers are doing.
One thing, just like a little like snippet of the last game that I would like to have gone back to see because I missed it. When they got that first, I don't know if it was first blood, but when they got that first kill in the bot lane, they ended up walking past the Leona who was hiding in the bush with the waves. So firstly, check the bushes if you don't know where your supports are, or the enemy support is.
Yep.
But secondly, I would like to see how did she get in there in such a fashion that they didn't just think, oh, Leona's waiting in the bush, we have to be careful.
Yep.
Right? Like did she walk back through the lane and then walk back up? Did she walk into the river and base? Like what? I just want to know why they didn't think she was there.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting point. I think maybe they were just in the mindset from the first game that, the support from the first game didn't really have much agency or impact, because you were talking about earlier getting them on an engaged support, and they just didn't respect the engage there at all. So if you want to give me about 10 seconds, I'm going to go turn the lights on.
Sure.
The stream in my thing looks absolutely terrible because
Right.
it's gotten so dark now that the sun's gone down. And once again, everyone in the stream, I'm a Team Liquid fanboy. Team Liquid, please sponsor me. I got your
Same,
secret.
actually. Okay, again, it's a pairing meant to be because I'm still cheering for Team Liquid too. Core JJ fan all the way.
Dude, I'm a Jensen fanboy, even though he hasn't been on Team Liquid since 2021. That MSI run will always be my favorite esports moment as an NA fan, and I will
2021 or
always.
2020?
I'm sorry, 2019. But Jensen hasn't
Okay,
been
yeah.
on the team since 2021. But the 2019 MSI run to finals, where they beat the defending world champion in the semifinals.
Oh, at MSI, yeah,
Oh my god, that was wonderful. But I will turn the light on. Give me 10 seconds.
for sure.
So yeah, this is great. We got 2 Captain Falcon mains. We got 2 Team Liquid fans. We got Pins and Pugsley. You are free to cast with me whenever you'd like. I'm doing a cast tomorrow and I'm doing a cast
That's
Sunday.
appreciated.
So if you'd like,
I won't be able to do tomorrow. Maybe Sunday. Tomorrow I'm working, and then I might be playing either. We're still having trouble scheduling, trying to figure things out. There's been last minute changes, left, right, and center, which is crazy for me. But yeah, if I'm free Sunday, I'll definitely hit you up.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I believe that the Sunday matchup is a 6 p.m. or I'm on the west coast of the United States, so for me that's 6 o'clock.
I'm Central, so whatever. I think that's 8 for me.
That would be 8. That's correct. So looks like I was just invited into the client, so they're getting ready, and then they'll send me the draft link, and we'll be looking for this game 3. I'm really looking to see. Like, I was really criticizing that Trundle pick, not because I thought it was a bad pick, but he just didn't capitalize on it early, and then he picked the Warwick and really gave some.
I want to give him some credit on the Trundle. They did try to make that play top, and it looked like it could have worked out well. It was just a bit of a botched dive, but they did have the Alawi low, and it was a set Trundle, so I do think it could have been done better. That's just my own pick or my own personal thoughts on the matter, but I don't think that necessarily that it was the Trundle that was the wrong option. It was just, it kind of sucks seeing you fall far behind, and when like you've got a bunch of losing lanes, it's kind of hard to do anything as a jungler from what I've been told. I don't jungle myself, so I can't say for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm not. You're absolutely right. That's a really good point that Trundle play on the dive on the Alawi. But once again, I think Alawi has the 1v1 matchup there, and diving an Alawi under turret, in my opinion, the best you're going to get early on is a 1-for-1, and if you aren't getting that first blood, that's a lost 1-for-1. So
That is true.
I really think that play,
Plus the
regardless, is
time and resources
questionable.
spent there.
Yeah, the time, exactly. So I'm not really too keen on that play in general, but nonetheless, if they were to successfully execute that dive, that game could have looked very, very different. But I'm really liking the Warwick plays. Curious to see if they're going to target ban, if Team Spencer's going to target ban any bans, any champions that they played like last game, like that Xayah, that Warwick, maybe even the Gangplank. So
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second. Did you say you had that draft link for me?
no, I said I will send that draft link to you.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay. And then once they load in, I'm going to need you to restart that stream again. Every time the game ends, it kind of goes wonky.
Okay, yeah, absolutely no worries. Right now, I'm just sitting in the client. They said waiting on support. He had to feed his dog, and he'll be back in about 2 minutes.
Oh,
So
those classic supports, feeding their dogs, feeding their carries, just feeding everything, right?
it looks like
Sometimes feeding the enemy team.
Kodak Mac is on blue side again, and Crimson Team Crimson Moon is on red side again. So for all 3 games of this series, both teams are on the exact same sides of the map. Really curious how that's going
so
to
nice
affect
for me
draft.
because it means that the Crimson team is on the red
Red.
side, and that just makes it easy to keep up.
Dude, that's how I've been remembering this entire game. So I love that you're using the same mnemonic device there, my friend. So we'll see where this goes from here. We'll see how this goes. We're getting to game 3. Really hope that you all in chat are loving this. Spam those Keck W's, spam those. Just happy to be here, happy to be a part of this league. This has been a blast for my first stream ever, and I know I've really enjoyed it with
Absolutely, same
Pins
here.
being his first ever cast ever. So congratulations to him. And
Well, thank you, Pugsley, for helping me be so comfortable with this because, that's what I wanted to make sure is that I had somebody who knew what they were doing, so they could kind of take over anything that I was dropping the ball on. So I really appreciate that.
No, you've had an amazing bot lane insight to the point at which it's honestly over my elo. I don't even have responses to some of the support and bot lane insight that you've brought to this. So this is a really great duo. Really happy with what you're bringing.
Thank you.
And yeah, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a really great time here in game 3, and it looks like they just got in. They should be sending me the draft link whenever. I asked them to send me draft link. I should be getting it soon, and we're gonna be getting going here. So,
is there anything you want to see, either just like reinforced or changed or responded to from either side of these teams? Like, what do you think that both teams should be focusing on this draft to try to capitalize?
Okay, I just got the draft link. I'll send it to you, my friend. So to answer your question, what I first, like you already touched on, I think putting Kodak Mac on a carry is paramount. The Scion was not it, and maybe the Scion works if they don't give P Diddy his Gangplank. I'm not entirely sure, but they need to change something up in the top lane. You can't have a Scion versus Gangplank matchup again. So that's number 1 on the side of Team Spencer. Also, not sure if they want to run the Sejuani back for the third straight game. Maybe they'll throw in a pocket pick here. Maybe they'll throw in some nice spice to really throw them off because we don't know what this jungler can bring. Maybe he can bring an assassin. Maybe he can play a carry jungler. Maybe he has a Kha'Zix in his wheelhouse. Who knows what they have? So I'm really, if he does have something spicy, I want to see it. Sejuani can be pretty boring.
Sorry, I need to correct myself a little bit. So I had said that Gangplank was the one trick. That was Crimson Moon's top lane main, whereas the team's... Wait, am I saying this right? Yeah.
Crimson Moon has P Diddy.
Spencer. Yeah. So P Diddy is the Camille player. Kodak Mac is the Gangplank player.
Oh.
So P Diddy on the Gangplank isn't the one tricking that I was chalking it up to be. And again, we've seen the Caitlyn ban twice now. I do really like that. That was a problem for Crimson Moon in game 1.
Yeah, same. I think that we got a triple bot lane ban for Crimson Moon, so that's bonkers. We got the Zeri, Caitlyn, and Tristana. Gonna see what Team Spencer's gonna hear with first pick after banning Camille, Ahri, and Zac, the same 3 bans that they've had every single game.
And they make sense, right? Like you've got somebody who plays a ton of Zac, you got somebody who plays a ton of Ahri, somebody who plays a ton of Camille. So like, why not just get rid of those, right?
Yeah, what I see when I see that is I don't see a lot of confidence in my ADC player. If they are looking to target ban other lanes and their one tricks, they are looking to shut down those lanes because they don't believe that their ADC can carry. And on top of that, they got triple ADC ban. So I am looking for that Xayah player. I forget his name, sorry about that, but I am looking for you to carry this game after.
I for fun, I believe, was the Xayah player.
I for fun. You do not want to ban 3 bot laners first round of bans and then lose. So lose your lane. So you are looking to slam that lane again. Curious to see if they'll go Nautilus, Leona, what they're going here. They're hovering the Xin Zhao in response to the Sejuani, and as a jungle player, I will say I really like the Xin Zhao matchup into Sejuani. Really, really great engage, really great disengage, and they do lock in that Xin Zhao. What do you think?
Again, not very many opinions on the junglers. I do recall like a year or 2 ago, Xin Zhao was just kind of this broken champion who said, "Oh look, I pressed R, I knocked you all away, and none of you can hurt me now." So like kind of I don't know, a bruiser, a fighter, this fighter champion who has this ability who just kind of turns him into a tank.
Yep.
So I think it allows him to do 2 roles well, which is really good. But we'll have to see.
Yeah, I agree. And
And there's the Kai'Sa Nautilus.
the Kai'Sa Nautilus. So Kai'Sa was played on the side of Team Crimson Moon in Game 1, and so after being triple banned in the ADC for the side of Team Spencer, they're going to take that Kai'Sa away. So, well, I mean, they already picked the Xayah, so they're picking the Kai'Sa into the Xayah. Curious to see what kind of support they're going to go here for the side of Team Crimson Moon into that Nautilus. I could see an
Again, I really
Annie
like the
here.
Alistar.
Alistar, okay.
Annie could work. That was okay. There we go. There's the Alistar. So two reasons I like this.
'Kay.
One, again, Alistar is really good at negating what Nautilus wants to do. At least pre-6.
Yep.
Right. You stand in front of it. In front of your carry whenever he threatens a hook, and if you can time it right, you can pulverize as he hooks you, and you'll knock him up. You'll proc your aftershock if you took that. If you didn't take aftershock, then whatever. But either way, you knock him up. You walk away, and you say, okay, the trade's over. Too bad for you. Right?
Yep.
And the other reason I like it is you've got a Xayah, who, again, you've got the root. So with Alistar CC, the root can then extend that CC enough that you can combo into your stun without having to get that weird angle where you W them into the wall to extend your timing. But then on top of that, Xayah wants to play safe, right? Or at least you pick her. That's one of her advantages with her ult, is that she can just ult when she's in trouble. And Alistar has really good peel. So he's really versatile because he's got great engage or great peel depending on how you want to play him. And so between Xayah ult and just the Alistar pulverize, the Alistar headbutt, you can make it really hard for them to get on your ADC. So if that's what you're wanting to play around, I think it's a really great pick.
I think that's really good. You're right. Alistar is someone who's not super well versed in supports and bot lane. I will say that is probably, when I think of Alistar, exactly what I think of. I think of great peel, great engage, and just phenomenal tank. And you said if you're not taking aftershock, whatever. If you're not taking aftershock, what are you taking with Alistar? So,
You would. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say they take the Swain here after banning the Annie and Silas picks in the mid lane. I wonder if they're gonna bait them into this Kayle again. He seemed really comfortable playing against this Kayle, and this guy was a Kayle one trick. So if he's playing this Kayle this second time, he better feel really confident into it.
Mm-hmm.
And he does. They do take
There
that
it is,
Kayle.
yeah.
They do take that Kayle. So let's
I
see.
wonder if this Swain pick was trying to force them onto the Kayle, right? Because there was a very limited amount of mid lane play champions that this player has played this year, and I know one of them was Swain. I don't remember what the others were, but Kayle was the most common one.
Yeah, I honestly, I would have liked to see that Cinder again, and we do see him take that Gangplank, that Kodak Max. So let's see what he can do on his one trick. Really, also really curious as to why they didn't take this Gangplank away. Maybe they didn't want to. Maybe they want to counterpick top again, but we'll see what they do here. Really, really liked that Cinder last game. Really curious why they didn't just run it back, because that Cinder was absolutely annihilating the 1v1 in the mid lane there. So, is that a Lucian top? And game 3 of the first series of the 2023 Sweat
Interesting.
League, we're seeing a Lucian top. I am not liking this team comp for the side of Team Crimson Moon, but I do really like the Xin Zhao, Alistar, Xayah. Well, actually, I like it. If this Swain works out, I think it could be a really nice Death Ball comp. If the Swain does not sack and does not scale correctly, it is a lost game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've got a couple things to note here. So one, I really like the Gangplank for a couple reasons. One, we were talking about putting Kodak Mac on a champion that can carry, on a champion that can kind of run over the game, and I think Gangplank has the capacity to do that if he gets ahead. Right, those barrels hit for a ton, and you've got 2 ADCs that you can just blow up completely if you catch them with a straight barrel. On top of that, bot lane was one of the big points of one of the big win cons of Crimson Moon's draft last game. It was kind of bot mid.
Yeah.
And I think the Gangplank really is a great way of saying, hey, now you have to deal with me even if I don't show up. You have to always be aware that I could drop this Gangplank ult on your heads when you engage or when Nautilus engages, and just make it that much harder for you to come out on top. So I think it does both of those things really well. About the Swain, I totally agree. He's the only AP on the team, unless they're doing some weird AP Alistar support thing, which I do not want to see. Not from the support.
Me neither.
Right? Like I think it's got its place, especially with the buffs that they just came out today. So they increased the AP scalings again. So if you wanted to put that in a solo lane, then sure.
Yeah.
Actually, so what do we think? Maybe that's a Swain support, but no, I hope not. But that does mean that if you're going tank Alistar, then you need your AP Swain to get ahead enough to actually be able to threaten that front line, right? Like Nautilus, even even if he's not ahead, if he only has to worry about AD and can itemize, maybe take double armor, and just start like stacking armor items. Sure, he doesn't have enough income to do that super effectively, but it's still going to feel really great as a tank support when you only have one damage type to deal with. Same with the Sejuani jungle, right? Both those can be incredibly tanky, especially if they're not behind. So you really want your Swain to be able to threaten, because otherwise you just kind of said, hey, look, we front to back and we don't die.
Yeah, I think you gotta have that AP on the Swain because, like you're saying, if it's not there, you just lose. What I'm also looking forward here with the bot mid duo on the side of Crimson Moon is how much this Xayah feeds after having her pentakill stolen away last game. So we'll have to see about that. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, it'll be the tilt factor. If Crimson Moon loses this game, then we know that we can just blame let's see here, Tai for or Tai T. I think
Tai
as it is
T, yeah.
Tai T for stealing the penta. It's right, Ty. You heard it here first. If you lose here, it's your fault from game 2.
So I'm sending this.
Obviously kidding.
Can you see this stream right now?
I can.
Okay, good. So,
Moment of truth: is this Alistar or Swain?
Yeah, that's really the question, and it is the Swain. So I was gonna say
okay, that's what we expected here.
Well, I thought it had to be the Swain because if it was Alistar, I would have expected him to be top, Lucian mid, and the Swain support. So the fact that the Lucian was the top is the important thing here. Also,
yeah, I was mostly kidding.
I know. So I'm really curious if the Xin Zhao has a different jungle path because you would expect him to start red and path bot once again to try to get that Xayah big lead. But I'm really curious if these junglers have recognized the paths of each other. If I'm Xin Zhao, I have to think that Sejuani has done a normal clear both times, so I might be looking to punish that. We'll see if we see any cheeky invades here.
I would be curious to see whether or not they had any vision to catch that, right? Because I don't recall seeing wards inside of either team's jungle at the start of the game, right? So I know first game both top laners leashed.
Yep.
Whereas both bot laners didn't. So that makes it fairly obvious, especially depending on like when you see the other junglers. But what about second game? I didn't see. Did the top laners leash again?
I actually can't recall. I want to say they didn't, but
right. So if they didn't, then that makes it a little bit harder to tell. Oh, did they? Like, you can see which side they ended up on, and I guess if you count the CS, I'm not good enough to do that. I don't play enough jungle to know how the math works there. But if they didn't see, where they started, that can make it a little more difficult to know.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at the I would assume that at least Team Spencer had to have leashed because Sejuani without a leash is rough. I mean, granted, she has the tankiness to like take a buff by herself, but the time takes forever, and it really kind of that leash is pretty paramount to a Sejuani.
And you're reminding me of the 2 times I played Alistar jungle. Won both games, by the way, just to clarify. But yeah, the clear is not good.
So once again, we're that 3 minutes behind. Do you still have the stream? You do? Okay. So once it goes in, I'll probably have to send it to you. But really curious to see what's going on here. Really hope the stream doesn't just randomly end 3 minutes, if it's like a hype ending and we don't know who's going to win. Because both games we had a pretty good idea unless there was a big throw. If it's a really close game, I really hope we don't get the same bug and I'll have to figure that out. So sorry, viewers, if that's going to be a scenario. But I'm super pumped to have the 15 viewers we have. Please follow my Twitch. This is the first time I've ever actually streamed on Twitch. I've
buy all of my fan art too. So just kidding around.
Oh no, I've streamed on Facebook before, but I first time streaming on Twitch because of this. So thanks for the viewers. You guys will help me become a Twitch partner, something that I definitely have a goal of doing after starting this. So thank you. And it looks like our chat here is saying the Alistar jungle is elite. So little shout out to you for doing that.
You see me on my cam, but I'm brushing my shoulder off right now, so thanks, Chad.
I gotta say, I have some pretty wonky picks as well because one of my jungle mains is Skarner. Actually, my third preferred top laner is Skarner for that reason, and I run Skarner lethal tempo top lane. I go Trinity Force Berserker's Greaves. It is the wonkiest like pick, but it works for me, and I really love the lethal tempo Berserker
Hey, if it
Greaves.
works, it works.
Trinity Force Skarner top lane, man. It is nasty.
Real quick thing about the draft. So like on paper, not looking at these teams,
Yeah.
I gotta say I do favor Team Spencer here.
Yeah.
Especially again, now looking at the teams too, I especially favor I really like Kodak Mac on this Gangplank, assuming that his play time on it actually translates to what we see here. The one thing I will say though is I don't think this is all doom and gloom for Crimson Moon here. Again, I think their mid laner has looked really exceptional. So the fact that they've only got one AP champion and it's on him, I don't think that's the end of the world. If he can get ahead, that's gonna be great.
Yeah.
And there's still a chance. I don't know what the Lucian Gangplank looks like, but since it's a counter pick, I'm gonna give him benefit of the doubt. Say if they can really snowball that as well. Right, you can have a pretty stable bot lane, even though you're into Kai'Sa Nautilus. With the Alistars, I think you should be okay. Right, so there's definitely a world where they come out on top, but just discarding that, I do definitely favor the Team Spencer draft here.
Yeah, not even discussing the picks themselves in terms of the comp and what they look like in a 5v5 or around the map or anything. We got Kodak Mac on his Gangplank one trick, and we have this mid laner for Team Spencer on his KO one trick. It didn't work out last game,
Let me pull up the name here.
but when you're
Tai for Crimson Moon.
Well, yeah, that's Crimson Moon, but the Team Spencer, he's a Kale one trick. So
Oh, that's correct. Yeah.
So
I'll need that stream refresh, please.
I'll get it back to you. So
All right.
But so yeah, it doesn't matter if the Kale didn't work out last game. If he's that confident that he's running it back, that's how one tricks are. I was in a Nivea one trick for the longest time, and it doesn't matter what the pick is. It didn't matter how last game goes. When you're a one trick, you're a one trick, and you can carry any game. So having the Gangplank one trick and the Kale one trick on their preferred champions, not taking into consideration the team comp or the fight or anything in general, that is a recipe for success. And just taking into consideration the team comp, you have a great front line, you have a great front to back, you have the Nautilus Sejuani tanks, you have the engage from the Nautilus, you have the engage from the Sejuani, you have the CC from those two champions as well, you have the AoE global ult from the Gangplank. You have everything if you're the side of Team Spencer. If you're the side of Team Crimson Moon, you're looking for more cheesy win con here. You're looking to get a fed bot lane, you're looking to get a Swain that just hyper scales his E. You're looking for a Xin Zhao just to completely take every objective with his ult. So we'll see. There's a lot of win cons, but there's specific win cons depending on how the game goes. So
I will say, as much as I do want to see Osnapsky and I for Fun pop off again, and again, love Alistar, also like Nautilus, both are pretty fun champs to play. I think this game is actually one where I would be looking to just stabilize on bots. You don't have to force too hard. I want to see mid and top get ahead this game, actually. Just because, again, the Lucian, if you're not getting him lane dominant in the Gangplank, I think the Gangplank offers way more. And you need that AP threat from the Swain. So sorry to contradict you, but that's my thoughts here.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I think the multiple perspectives is super important. I don't think it's super contradiction. I think I could really lean into that as well. But just want to shout out chat here. So someone's saying yes, fellow Skarner enjoyer. I am as well.
Wonderful.
I am not Captain Flowers. They called me Captain Flowers, but and they're also saying sources are telling us that Spencer's mom is pissed that he missed dinner. So not sure Team Spencer which one Spencer is, but sorry that you missed dinner and that your mom's pissed. Hopefully you get the dub here, Spencer. So we see Swain hit his first E, started E. That's great, much better than the Swain play in game one from the other player, and we do see Gangplank.
He's here. Yep.
We do see Gangplank give a leash. We see the early Ignite coming out from Nautilus. This is a bloody bot lane. They're really trying to set that Xayah back. And we also see Xin Zhao start on the bot side, taking his blue, taking his Gromp, very different clear than what he's done. So, and he also did not get a leash, it looked like, this Xin Zhao. So, very different what's going on here in terms of what we're seeing from the jungle players. And he's taking the Gromp. He's going to skip his Wolves, the Xin Zhao over here. Going to see if he's going to maybe try to make a dive up top at some point, or why he skipped his Wolves and what he's trying to get to top so fast for. So,
I do like seeing the P Diddy on the Lucian forcing Kodak Mac off the wave and being able to push that in, right? That's the dominance we wanted to see when you're getting a counter pick with something as volatile as a Lucian solo lane.
Yeah.
and again, like you were talking about too, the Swain getting that first little trade and being able to get this health lead on the. Actually, sorry, we got something else
Yeah,
going
we
on right
got
now.
something going on the bot lane. Just a little cheeky Nautilus Q. We see the disengage there from the Nautilus, not much else. Yeah, but you're talking about this. Lucian is punishing Kodak Mac up here, and we know that his jungler, the Sejuani's bot, so and he has the help of his Xin Zhao up in the top lane, in the top river, so he can pretty much do whatever he wants up here. He's going to keep pushing. He puts that ward over to make sure that he knows that the Sejuani started blue side. We're seeing the lane gank coming from the Sejuani, though. Sejuani, and we see first blood coming from the Kaisa.
A little too aggressive from the Alistar there, I would say.
The Sejuani's looking to continue lane ganking here. She flashes, hits the Q stun,
Yeah,
and
no flash on the Xayah.
we see
And that's it.
the double kill on the Kaisa. So we're going to really have to see some cross-map efficiency from this Lucian to make up for that. That is a huge difference between game 2 and 3 that we're seeing from the Xayah bot lane.
Absolutely. I think so. A couple of things that led into this. Firstly, just the way that Crimson Moon's bot lane approached after leashing. You want your Alistar in front. Like when you're walking up to lane and you don't see the enemy bot lane at all. If you're not walking up with the minions and you're worried that they're going to be in that bush, put the Alistar in front. That way, if he gets pulled, he can do this. The pulverize there, and he'll be okay in that 2v2.
And he just gets killed again, stepping up. If they didn't,
they do trade on the top side though.
They do trade, but had he not died there, and it was just a solo kill, or I guess a kill up in the top lane there, that would have felt so much better on the side of Team Crimson Moon. They're only down 1,500 gold, but it is less than 5 minutes in, which is a pretty significant lead. We do see this E from the Swain keep hitting. I'm curious to see if this Swain can really get a lead and then get the nasty death ball comp going that I was talking about. Misses his E there, and we just see this Xin Zhao just kind of taking his time.
For basing.
He is. That kill, Alistar just going up unnecessarily down there in the bottom lane when Xayah was still walking back from lane was really questionable there. Giving that Kaisa a third kill is just not what you want to see from the side of if you're Team Crimson Moon in this game.
Yeah, well, the idea to flash forward and Q and then walk to the other side and W them back, it works if you've got enough of a like either a health advantage or just not so much of a health disadvantage, right? Because then you can actually say, okay, look, your support is out of position and we're fine and we actually win this trade.
Yep.
But he didn't get him under tower and he was already low enough that they just killed him for it. So it just was not worthwhile, right? If they were both at even health, it looks good. But it was just a little too aggressive given how much harassment they had already taken just from the other engages that Nautilus had already had in that lane.
Kaisa gets vision. She knows that they're on the dragon. I'm actually shocked that they don't even just face check and contest that a little bit, even if they're just dancing around and not really wanting to do a full engage there. Because that Xin Zhao was level 3 taking the first dragon. That was a really risky play there. I know Sejuani was in the top lane there, but with Kaisa so fed and having cashed her gold in already, that could have been bad with that Xin Zhao level 3 at the time of that dragon. And we see the Nautilus going in there, throwing his Q. We see this Xayah get killed. The kill goes to the Kayle, which is huge. We see Sejuani get that Xin Zhao, and we're seeing just a complete and total game 1 all over again, all across the map. Team Spencer is just annihilating Team Crimson Moon.
Definitely a few hiccups here. I think they could have got the Drake and just walked out safe. If you see that you're getting cut off, just go through your jungle. There's no reason to get sandwiched between the mid lane, who's collapsing because they actually did have Prio for a little bit there, and the strong bot lane. But yeah, just a few hiccups overall. I think if some of those Nautilus hooks from earlier landed on the Alistar instead of the Xayah, you're looking a little bit better. You do? Yeah. But that's how it goes, right? Sometimes things just go a little bit poorly. You fall behind a little bit early, and all of a sudden you're not really in a position to get those plays that you wanted. But we got a big calling from Lucian.
That is a huge calling. That was very well played by the Lucian there. The Xin Zhao there just for some assurance, but unfortunately didn't get it. Did force the flash out of there on the gangplank. And what we're seeing here in this bot lane is Kaisa still has both their sums. So this could be if she has the mechanics and confidence, it looks like she's just going to take the back here, but if she had the mechanics and confidence there, she really could have made a play with the heal flash, trying to really put stranglehold on the rest of this game here. So we do still see both sums on the side of the Swain. The Swain did take the Ghost, which isn't an abnormal play to take, but against the Kale, I would have assumed that they would have matched the teleports there. But this Tai T does feel pretty comfortable in the mid lane. I'd say that he's pretty comfortably won the mid lane matchup all 3 games. So
Exactly. I will say, with the Rift Herald coming up and with their Kai'Sa so monstrously fed, I would I would have kind of liked to see the Nautilus roam up for the Herald, try to secure that, and take a little bit of downtime. Okay, we got a good roam from the Alistar.
Great engage from the Alistar. Notice that the Kale did not have the ult, although it was almost back up, so that was a really good read there, and they get the nice engage there. And Xayah is just down in the bot lane. Hopefully she doesn't get dove here, and hopefully Alistar can make it back. I don't think that they're going to be able to dive to Xayah, knowing that the Sejuani's in the mid lane having vision there, but we'll see what they try to do down here. And we do know that Kai'Sa does have that ult, and that Nautilus is low, so it does not seem like they're going to be able to make a play.
Yeah, I don't think so. I do think, again, so had they rotated the Nautilus up for Herald, first of all, you might have him in the area to deny that Alistar gank there, or at least to answer it. But 2, so you get a bit of downtime. Sure, you get like 1 plate here as Kai'Sa now.
Yeah.
Oh, this is dangerous. Okay, good Nautilus Q to stop Alistar from being able to bop her back under the tower.
If that Xayah had ult there, I actually really liked it, and Xayah did just get the ult.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a little too late. And we do see the Noon Quiver, the Cloak, and the Pickaxe all on the side of Kai'Sa, and up 20 CS plus 3 kills. So looking at the CS,
we got Herald on Xin Zhao now.
We do have a Herald on Xin Zhao, but he's down 30 gold to his to that Sejuani in the jungle. So
all forced out by Kale.
Really interesting here, taking some tower shots for the Nautilus, and it looks like they're just going to keep trading down in the bot lane. I am actually really liking what the Xayah is doing, despite this huge disadvantage with farm, kills, items. She's really making the most of what she's working with. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think the Xayah is doing great. One thing I want to highlight actually is, so like while I talk about Alistar being able to neutralize Nautilus, it goes both ways, right? Like every time Alistar's tried to go in, if Nautilus has his root or his hook, like we saw like earlier, Alistar came in with the Q and wanted to walk back and then like bop the Kai'Sa back under tower, but Nautilus had Q up as well, so he just pulls him, CCs him, and because of that, Kai'Sa's able to walk away, isn't still knocked up, and manages to get the other side so that you can't get. So basically, both supports can disrupt what the other one wants to do.
Yeah,
but yeah, I do think that the Xayah has done a great job of not giving over any more kills and trying to keep these trades even when these supports are both trying to kind of get the upper hand on who gets to engage on who gets to try to isolate the target that they're picking.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And taking it to a jungle perspective where we're at, we do see Xin Zhao have that Herald still. They've gotten both river objectives so far in this game. We got Dragon spawning here shortly. We see the Xin Zhao disengage. Yep, fight over the scuttle. We see the Xin Zhao disengage after securing the scuttle. And it looks like Kale and Nautilus are going to keep roaming here. And it's a 4v2, 4v3 on the side of Team Crimson Moon. What are they going to keep doing? We see the Nautilus. Can Xin Zhao come back in and kill this Kale for him? And he does get the kill. That is huge. So we do see a 2k gold difference in favor of side of Team Spencer right now. We see Xayah pop her ult. Is she going to get the kill on? And she cannot get the kill.
Big Nautilus hook.
That is a huge kill onto the Sejuani, and I am really shocked with what's going on here. This is a bloodbath of a game 3. Oh, and that is a disgusting
well played by the
Kai'Sa W there. And can she get the quad? She does get the quad. Looking back up to this top lane, looks like this Lucian was a great counter pick to this Gangplank, and I'm pretty sure that they were trying to bait this Kodak Mech into the Gangplank so they could have that Lucian counter. I just kind of wish that they had planned their mid lane to be more of a tanky roamer as opposed to the Swain if they were preparing for that Lucian pick.
I think the unfortunate thing though is, like, sure, you got a great counter pick. I don't know what the CS difference is, but I don't know if they got any kills onto Lucian. Yeah, 1 kill and 1 plate. That's not making up for what's going on in the bottom half of the map here.
Yeah, 7 kills onto the Kai'Sa. It's impossible to make up for that.
Yeah, exactly. Point I wanted to make earlier, and I guess it doesn't really matter. Yeah, we got a play in the mid lane going on right now.
We do. We see Kai'Sa or Kale pop a roll, and it does not matter.
Either 2 seconds, and that's about it.
I'm actually stunned. Team Crimson Moon may be able to bring this back. They still have the Herald, or they dropped the Herald right now in the mid lane. They're looking to take the second dragon. Maybe can Alistar get out of here? He's going to try, and he can't, but at least the kill goes over to the Nautilus there. They're going to keep rotating over to the second dragon. If they can get the second dragon, even though it's a 3k gold difference, that could be such a difference.
Risky take right now.
It is a
He's got no support. Xayah cannot help at that health, and Swain does not does not have first rotation past the Sejuani right now. So
And Kaisa is, he's just
there
going to
we go
back
again.
off of that. And Kaisa gets the solo kill there because Kaisa has 8 kills. And this is just a disgusting Kaisa carry. So what we're seeing here is that Kaisa, the better Kaisa this series has been Levi Walker, the bot laner of the Team Spencer, as they take this second dragon. We'll see what soul this is. And it looks like the P. Diddy on the side of Crimson Moon has the better gangplank this series. So nice to see that some picks are being swapped back and forth. And we also saw Swain. Both teams played Swain, Kaisa, and Gangplank. That's pretty interesting.
that's true. A few repeat picks, absolutely.
Yeah, and they're all in different. And we see Swain pop his ult, misses E.
Kale no ult.
Kale no ult, no. Oh, she does have flash. Doesn't decide to pop it. And
Ooh.
I'm not sure about that kill still there, but they're
More team gold overall, but yeah, I completely disagree. I think again, your only AP three. I can't speak. Your only AP threat should definitely be getting the gold there, in my opinion.
You completely agree. Sorry if I was saying that I wanted him to take that kill. I'm actually shocked that he took that kill. But once again, maybe they knew that they had flash, maybe they didn't. But the Coling almost killing Gangplank once again, and we see Xin Zhao coming for this dive. Sejuani with the counter gank coming in. Wonder what's going to happen here. Does Xin Zhao have flash? He does.
How fast
He's
is
going
the
to
wave
take
going?
it. Is he going to
I'm
get
not even
flash?
waiting for it.
Oh, and we see the Sejuani ult did not hit, but the slow did slow him down to the point where he could not get out of there.
They did
Sejuani,
manage to get a shutdown on the Kaisa, by the way. And that went over to the Zaya, so that's going to be pretty big too in terms of trying to turn this game back. It's actually only still not even a 3K gold lead, not even 2.5, and only 12 kills to 8. So I am curious to see whether they'll be able to stabilize or not.
yeah, that's a good point, especially if they slow down this Kaisa. The kill did not go to Zaya. I did not see who the kill went to, but Zaya's
Oh,
still
it didn't,
sitting
you're
on
right.
0 kills. So
Oh, it was the Swain actually. I think it was the Swain. The Visions of the Empire.
yeah, and so the very first game we saw the mid laner of Team Spencer. I cannot pronounce your name, so that is who you are. You are Team Spencer mid laner. He went Leandries on the Swain, as we see Rod of Ages going on the Swain of Tai T. So I actually prefer the Rod of Ages build right now, just because that extra level mid game is so big. If you can hit 16 as a Swain, that is disgusting. Especially if you've stacked your E well enough, you can really, really take over team fights, especially with the Deathball comp with a engage like an Alistar there. So we'll see what's going to go on. Looks like they're going to try to take this Herald. I wonder if we're going to see the contest here from Team Crimson Moon. Is pretty interesting. This could turn the entire game
They're
here.
in the area.
They
They have numbers if the Swain rotates, so they could look.
It doesn't look like they're going to be able to get there in time. He did try to get a cheeky steal there with the Xin Zhao Q,
Oh,
but
I was wrong.
did
It
not
would've
get
been
it.
4v4. Yeah. So in a situation like this, where you're not comfortable taking the fight, and you instead of just standing there watching, oh, they're taking the Herald, you definitely should. I think it's really important to be cognizant and say, look, the objective's up. We can't fight for it. So what are we going to get instead? And like overload the other side of the map. Have somebody ready to respond when they drop that Herald. Maybe a couple people. But right, if it's just Gangplank under the tower, he's not been getting ahead this game. Right, the Lucian's been keeping him behind. Try to pick on him and on his side of the map.
Yep.
And maybe get something in return.
We see the flash out of Alistar, the ult coming from Nautilus. They're going to drop this Herald up in the top lane for
That's
the
gonna
side
be
of
turret.
Team Spencer. That's turret. That's just going to accelerate this gold lead and break this map wide open. They're going to have tier 1s in both the bot and top lane. Really get this Kaisa roam. And Levi Walker is just on a tear despite having lost that bounty. And Herald's going to get a second charge here. I'm really curious as to what play they're going to make next, where they're going to rotate each other. They aren't going to quite get that tier 2 up in the top lane, but this map is just blown open. We got everyone in chat calling for Levi Walker MVP, and we see the pick from the Nautilus into the Kaisa for that Xin Zhao kill right there. This is a 5k gold or a 4k gold lead.
Really interesting attempt from Levi there. I
Yeah.
love the X5.
Very interesting,
Even
and Levi getting the kill once again. But we do see Swain picking it up, trading flashes with the kill there to get the double kill.
And
Right.
Visions of Empire. This might not be over.
Yeah, no, it's a 2 for 2, and we see, nice, Eye for Fun getting her first kill of the
Alistar's here.
game. They're going to get another shutdown. This Swain is their carry. This Tai
there we go.
Yeah, we got a 5-1 and 5 Swain with a 4-stack Rod of Ages coming. Looks like for that second item, he's probably going to go Cosmic Drive. Not Cosmic Drive, the Demonic Embrace, just because he didn't opt for the Leandries for his Mythic. But we'll see what he does. This game's
And
the
Gangplank
best game
behind
we've
the tower
had.
too.
Yeah,
It's been a
Gangplank
good
did
one,
deny
yeah.
the tower.
You got a
Yeah.
flank from Alistar. Gangplank might not get out of this either.
I don't think he will. Yeah, it looks like he's a goner. Depending on Xin Zhao does have ult. Xin Zhao has flash. Xin Zhao has smite. This is GG, or this is a kill for that Gangplank. And Gangplank is dead. So good thing we did not see a kill still there. We're getting really great gold onto the Xin Zhao, Swain. Like to see some more gold under the Lucian. Lucian went with the natural Gale Force there just to give him some more agency as he's in the side lanes as the top laner up here. So looks like Team Crimson Moon's going to start this third dragon. It is a Hextech Soul. They are down about 2,300 gold here. Nautilus pops the ult onto the Lucian. Here comes
Lucian's
Levi
dead here.
Walker. They're going to rotate over from Dragon.
Unless...
Save P. Diddy. And wow, this game is really turning for what I did not expect. I actually favor Team Crimson Moon from here on out. See Kale split pushing in the top lane. They're going to get that tier 2. That is some gold there, especially onto that kill. They're going to kill the Nautilus and
the
look
tier
back
2s are
towards
worth
this
a ton.
dragon. Yeah, tier 2s are a ton of gold, especially onto a Kale. She's scaling. So, there we go. We see the Nautilus suicide there. And
buying a lot of time.
a lot of time, but the kill is going to go on to the Xayah, which is where we want to see it, given the state of this game. So, oh, his kill. Oh, and the
but the Lucian calling
Calling.
ends it.
yeah, Lucian calling for sure. That could have looked bad. That could have been inhib turret for sure. Had kill won that 1v1. So
The one thing, this is usually a copium angle and not really a sign of, oh, we can still win. But the one thing you do want to look at is with the gold being as close to even as it is this late into the game, or almost 20 minutes, right? The lead has not grown since the first 5 minutes, or it's shrunk back down. But there's a lot more standing gold for Crimson Moon to take right now in the form of those tier 1 towers, whereas if I'm counting correctly, yeah, there's definitely more towers. 3 towers taken for the side of help me out here. What's the team again? Team Spencer.
Yep.
Right. So that's more gold just waiting to be taken too, right? So if they're taking control and if they're getting to the point where hey, we can start contesting and we're actually we're comfortable fighting again, if they can get those tier 1 turrets, that's just going to put more gold in their pockets.
1,000%, yeah, 100%, yeah. When you're down, when you have no turrets and the other team has 3, if you can match that, this is going to be an even state game. Obviously, the 2 dragons is a slight difference. It is only a 2k gold lead, but here comes the Gangplank gold onto this Lucian. Lucian does have a whole level advantage, about a level and a half. Here comes Kai'Sa. I think. Oh yeah, and Kai'Sa throws down the ult just to secure that kill. So we're gonna see a trade for the Baron on the top side. It is a 3v3 up in the top side up here. We'll see if they can, or a 4v2. What is going on?
You have to remember, like, most of your gold is on that Kai'Sa, right? And she doesn't have ult. She can't join the fight super fast. So this is going to look pretty bad, even with Kayle getting that shutdown, which, you know, good for the later game. But until then, they're not going to be able to take the Baron off of this, but that's looking pretty solid.
Absolutely.
As long as Nautilus doesn't want anything big here.
Yeah, I'm not really liking that positioning for the Xin Zhao. They're going to get the kill onto the Alistar. Now they're going to take the Baron. So right now it is 1 on the map for the side of Team Crimson Moon, 4 on the map on the side of Team Spencer. Not looking good anymore. About a 4k gold difference now. We're going to see if Swain, when I play Swain mid, I always like to throw a cheeky Q or E into the Baron pit, but he's not even going to attempt. He's just going to stay, maybe take that.
Try to get that turret.
Yeah, get that turret. That Kai'Sa's coming in, and that Kai'Sa.
Yeah, they might be able to pick him up.
Yeah, they're going to get him. They're going to get him. He's that was a bit zealous on the side of Swain.
But he could take a lot of time, right? That could be less time that they can actually use.
He has Ghost. He has Ghost. He pops the Ghost. He is going to take it. So I don't think they're going to be able to catch up to him.
To help.
If I were him, I'd throw a W down just to slow him down and force him to walk out of it. But he doesn't throw the W quite yet. Oh, and they predicted because they had vision in that bush, and they're gonna win this team fight. That's wow. Yeah, that's a nice kill onto the Sejuani. But that Baron gold's huge that they got on the side of Team Spencer. Was that our first Baron of the series?
I think there was a surrender
after the Baron that we didn't. Okay, you're right on that. So that is the first observed Baron.
Exactly.
They're calling it a burger flip Baron in chat, but I'm not sure I agree with that burger flip because that was
it was a burger flip from Crimson Moon, perhaps.
Yes,
or it ended up being a fight over there, but they had the numbers, right? Like again, you got to remember Nautilus and Kai'Sa, who were the ones who were dictating the game, were on the other side of the map. So I would say it was a good fight to take. It was just unfortunate that it took so long that Nautilus and Kai'Sa were able to rotate up, but. With this Swain all being able to tank so much, they're just
and we're seeing
managing to take so much.
Wow, that Lucian with the TP, making sure that he saves that inhibitor from the Gangplank, but he's just going to walk back. Maybe he didn't need the TP there. He could have just back because it looks like he's going to give up that inhib regardless, especially with that Baron buff on that Gangplank. They're going to keep contesting this fight down in the bot lane. I wonder if they're going to be able to pick up that Sejuani. We'll see what's going on down there as I move down there.
Yeah, it is interesting. I got to give props to Kodak Mack here, right? He's been the one who's kind of been set behind for most of the game, like compared to the rest of his team.
Yeah.
And yet when they get the Baron, he's the one who actually managed to make something happen. Whereas on the rest of the team, after that unfortunate chase down from Tai T, who got his mid-tier turret and then managed to bait the rest of Team Spencer into a fight that they ended up losing. Like the only positive from that Baron came from Kodak Mack.
Yeah, 100%. You're not wrong. And well, on the other side of it, they did get the just the Baron gold in general, but the in terms of map pressure, that getting the Kodak Mack just feeling a little bit more confidence, a little bit more doing what he's doing to get that split push. And he was down 2 levels on that Lucian about 5 minutes ago. Now they're both level 14, so that's also a really, really big advantage. As we're looking to contest the 4th dragon here, the 2nd Hex Tech of the game, we got Kayle looking, getting cornered. Kayle does not have ult. Kayle is dead here, and that is...
Forces the Xayah ult, though.
I was about to say that. You're absolutely right. It does force the Xayah ult. I don't think that Team Crimson Moon is going to be able to contest this. We get the Kai'Sa ult. We get the flash.
Not good enough.
Yep, and I still really like this team fight here from Team Crimson Moon, despite the gold difference.
Absolutely, Swain is up, and there's no Kayle and there's no Kai'Sa.
Nope. Yeah.
Right? So there's no consistent, there's no good damage to burst him down.
This Swain is sitting on 57 stacks of Ravenous Flock. It is a ace for the side of Team Crimson Moon, and that gold lead is only 500 pins. What a turn. We get a...
That's incredible.
Yeah, we get that was a 4K gold swing in the span of a couple minutes, so... They're calling P Diddler in the chat, which I am not cool with that. So we're just gonna keep it to the P Diddy man, and
let's keep it family friendly, folks.
Yeah, this is the sweat league. We aren't sweaty here. We aren't trying to be in the LCS. We're just trying to have some fun. So it is an even gold. Both teams at 2 dragons. The turrets. It is still. Just 2 turrets on the side of Team Crimson Moon, 4 on the side of Team Spencer. We do have that top inhib still down for the side of Team Crimson Moon, but we'll see where they take it from here. There's a lot to be had with this map for the side of Team Crimson Moon.
Yeah. What I want to see is who gets more control for this next Baron setup, because I believe, I don't have the timers in front of me, but I believe that's going to spawn before the Drake, right? And both teams are at 2 Drakes, so that's going to be important too if it's close. But if the Baron's far enough ahead, I want to see who's getting vision, who's getting map control with the waves, and who's just going to be in a better position to either set up and say, look, you've got to come to us, we've got control of this space, and basically we've got more control over the upcoming fight.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much to be had here. I'm trying to think of where do you think Team Spencer takes it from here?
Team Spencer?
Yeah,
that's a good question. I think your Kai'Sa is still monstrosely fed, right? So you've got, you're really only your real frontliners are, well, you've got a Sejuani and you've got a Nautilus, right? So if you can keep the Kai'Sa safe, the Kayle safe, have a solid front to back, right? Like you have some very strong carries with the Gangplank, the Kai'Sa, and the Kayle. So as long as you can keep them protected, I think you'll be fine. I don't think that you're really going to be burst down as a Sejuani in this. But it's really a question of how much does Swain get to do his thing, right? Does he get to ult like he's doing right here and just keep draining and not get threatened? Because if he can, then he's just going to win the fight. Right? If Kayle can't kill him, if Kai'Sa can't kill him, he's winning.
Yeah, he's going to win them the game, honestly. This Tai T, they're calling for Levi Walker post-game interview, but if they win this, I think Tai T won his lane every single game, despite that second game for that Xayah. I think he has been the most consistent player. He has shut down the Kayle one trick twice this series, and his Swain is just absolutely nutty.
He is very reliable for his team, that's for sure.
Very reliable. Really, 3 different picks each game. The Silas had the Swain. And he's just killing it, and they're looking at it as this Baron's about to spawn. They're going to take this Baron as it's only a 2v5 on the map right now. And a lot of things lost there that I don't know if you noticed, but Gangplank popped his ult to try to slow down that Lucian as Kayle was zeroing in on him on the bottom lane and didn't get much for it. Kai'Sa ulted in and didn't get the kill, so they exercised a ton onto that Lucian, did not get him, and then Swain just came in and cleaned up. So they turn on this Baron. Yeah, just ult again. Oh! If I were him, I would have flash-E'd. I would have flash-E'd into that Sejuani. He's just zoning this Sejuani out. He says,
Yeah,
"You
you can't
cannot
fight if
come."
you can't get in the pit.
Yeah, he said, "You cannot come into this Baron, you poor old Ryan Sejuani. That is your favorite skin, Mr. Sam Christ. You've played it 3 straight times. It's my favorite skin too for Sejuani. But you know what? You ain't getting into that Baron pit." There we go.
And he also forced out the Nautilus and Sejuani all just to keep Sejuani alive, and as he just kind of walked away from the pit too. That was what I just wanted to point out before, though. They did a great job of saying, "Hey, look, we've got 5, they've got 2 or 3. So yeah, we're going to jump on this Baron, but if we see Sejuani, we're going to turn immediately Alistar. I believe Q flashed into them and got the double knockup just to make sure that it wasn't going to be a 50-50 flip. So no burger flip Barons here, despite what the chat was saying earlier.
Yeah, absolutely no burger flips. And we see just chat going wild over this crazy game 3. We see a 3K gold lead for the side of Team Crimson Moon. This game is
they
just,
really turned it around.
This game is absolutely bonkers. Everyone's calling for a Levi Walker interview, even if they lose. They are really in it for Levi Walker in this Kai'Sa, which I gotta say, he had a really great early game and early mid game. The first part of the mid game, he had a great mid game, but or towards the latter part of that mid game, now going into the late game, he has given up some pretty big bounties and not really capitalizing the team fights. He has burned his ult unnecessarily for solo kills. They did not pan out, and I am really looking to see him take advantage of his 4 items that he has right now, just to see.
One thing I do want to say in his defense, and I haven't. Oh wait, we've got a Swain flashing and an ulting that. With the Zhonya's, that's not even too early. Yeah, that just buys enough time that his team shows up.
Yeah, and he just
I think
keeps
they're gonna win another
tanking.
fight.
They're just gonna win another fight. Yep. And there's now Zai's in on the action. We see
Alistar's
the
ulting,
Gangplank.
so he's not gonna die.
Gangplank ult come in. You can't kill this Swain. This Swain has so much health. This Swain does so much damage. This Swain got Rod of Ages, and it maxed out early, and he is carrying. And now they're up 5k gold after being down nearly 5k gold. We see Kale splitting in the bot lane, being closed in by the Xin Zhao. I don't know about
I don't
this.
think it's gonna work.
He doesn't have ult, and it's
Jesus,
aced. I think they just end it here. I really
death
do.
numbers are very long.
Yeah, I think this
Kai'Sa will be up. It might be a little iffy if she can keep them from getting the what's the Nexus turrets long enough for the team to respond. But I think you're probably right. This is just probably game.
Yeah, I mean, Gangplank doesn't have ult. They're just gonna look for the dragon here. Yeah, they're just playing it safe. I'm surprised they didn't take at least a Nexus turret.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. That's fair. And they have a lot of gold to cash in.
They're setting a trap, though.
Yeah, they are setting a trap.
Could be seeing them overplay their hand again.
Yeah, right. They have done that a few times in this series, so we'll see what they're doing here. I don't know what they're doing. They haven't cashed in their gold, and this Kai'Sa is
They've
here.
got 2 people very far away.
This is wonky. I don't like this at all. I mean, I know Swain has that ult back up, and he's going to pop it right here, and they're going to die. That Swain has... Oh, wow. Here comes Lucian. They are just fearless. They are a fearless team, this Crimson Moon.
Yeah, no, they said, hey, can you hold this for me? And they handed them the wallet, and they couldn't hold it.
It wasn't their wallet. That was
too
the
heavy,
thing.
yeah.
It wasn't their wallet, unfortunately. So
it was a bit of the comp, too. Right, like they with the Swain, like you said, being so fed, like he's honestly, like I would say, possibly their most effective frontliner. They've got a Xin Zhao who can just ult, and an Alistar who can also ult. Like they've got 3 champions ult and say, "Yeah, you can't kill me." Plus, Zai can do the same thing too, and it looks like they're just gonna win off of this.
Yeah, this is just game. I gotta say, if I'm in this league, good thing it didn't. We get to see the very end. No team forfeited. Yeah. Maybe it's only if they forfeit.
Fantastic comeback.
Great game. Want to say, if you're in this league, watch out for Ty T. Watch out for his picks. Watch out for P Diddy. Watch for his crazy top picks despite that sloppy game 1. And, Levi Walker played really well. Kodak Mack, when he is given a lead, he will carry it. What's some great players, great teams in this league? I'm excited for the Sweat League 2023.
Yeah, I gotta say, I was impressed with both carries. Levi Walker managed to get 2 really strong leads in lane. One of them they managed to win off of. The other one, I would have to look back and watch the team fights more closely. If you're an ADC, if your team can't protect you, like it does sometimes suck. So I don't know how much of it was his ults versus his teammates. I'm not going to try to throw blame on anyone specifically. But did very well. And also on the other side, we have Eye for Fun, who managed to, even when he was behind, still managed to look like a very competent ADC and managed to do his job very well. And in the third game, that ended up being a big part between him and especially, again, huge props to Tai T. Managed to turn that game around, even though it was looking pretty doomed for quite some time.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I just want to give a shout out. Chat is going wild. Thank you, everybody. They're saying they loved us as casters. Want to say great job, Pins.
I appreciate that.
Great
Much love, everyone.
Great job. Thank you for the love. I did record this. I do have the VOD. I have the full stream. It'll just be the stream of what I have. I can certainly provide that to everyone who wants it in the league. I'll probably just put it in the captain's lounge. You guys can save it and distribute it to your team as necessary. Thank you.
Underground burned discs, hand them out, distribute them as, like you said, as necessary.
As necessary, yes, exactly. they are burned copies here. So thank you, everyone, for loving us as casters. This was my first cast for the 2023 Sweat League. I'll be casting again tomorrow, and I'll also be casting Sunday. There's a game on Saturday, but unfortunately, it is my birthday weekend, and I will be spending it with my girlfriend. So,
well, happy birthday!
Thank you. It is my birthday weekend, so happy to spend the time that I do have with it with the Sweat League. You guys have been great. Thank you so much for being a part of this. And yeah, I'm gonna call it a stream from here. I'll stay in Discord with you, Pens, for a little bit. And thank you, everybody. Thank you. You guys really excited for this season with this league. Thank you. I do have the VOD. I did say I'd have the VOD. So next time, wear something sexy. Okay, I will.
Maybe I should put on my cam next time.
Yeah. If you give me the feed, I can add it to the stream.